Chapter 6199. Lin Yi took a deep breath and took advantage of the situation to launch the thunder burial. Bluish-purple lightning waterfall fell from the sky and completely enveloped this small group of people. Without the support of the space of the jade pendant, Lin Yi had launched these big moves in one go and had almost reached his limit. If he still could not kill these guys, he could only escape. Although Lin Yi was sure that this was an illusion, but if he died in the illusion, it was very likely that he would also die in the real world. This kind of example was not uncommon, so Lin Yi did not dare to be careless. When the blinding flash completely disappeared, more than 3,000 practitioners' army basically declared the total annihilation. The only one who could still stand in the field was that general in the early stage of earth opening. "You are really tough, you are still not dead?" Lin Yi gasped for 2 breaths and looked coldly at that general. He was able to resist the continuous attacks of this degree. This guy really had good strength. "You are very powerful, but I am also not a person who can be killed so easily. To be honest, you can be proud of yourself for being able to suppress me to this extent. If I am not wrong, your Zhen Qi should be almost consumed, right?" That general looked embarrassed, but his breath was not chaotic. Obviously, under the violent attacks of Lin Yi, he did not suffer much damage. Lin Yi reckoned that he must have some high-level protective equipment on him, otherwise, under the continuous attacks of the big moves, even a practitioner in the late stage of earth opening would not be able to resist it. "You are wrong, I have not used much of my Zhen Qi." Lin Yi faintly smiled and did not show the slightest sign of fear. "It is useless to be stubborn. You were able to destroy my army in an instant, and if you did not consume much Zhen Qi, then you must have a higher level of strength than me. Unfortunately, no matter how I look at you, you are just a little guy who has not even reached the mountain opening stage, that's all. You can do this step, I also have to admit that you are really heaven-defying, but that is all. Next, it is time for me to show you some color." Before he finished speaking, the general spread out his arms, and Lin Yi's body suddenly became extremely heavy. Even his ghostly wings couldn't flap smoothly. Not waiting for Lin Yi to react, a jet-black spear shadow abruptly appeared at the vital position of his heart. Just as it was about to touch the clothes on his chest, a terrifying true qi fluctuation burst out. Lin Yi had no doubt that if he was stabbed, his entire heart would turn into powder. Lightning evasion. At the critical moment, Lin Yi relied on the lightning escape technique to escape. Just as he was about to counterattack, Li Zhaoyi suddenly appeared in front of him. "Kill me and you'll be able to leave the illusion." Li Zhaoyi looked at Lin Yi coldly, and turned the dagger he had thrown on the ground upside down and returned it to him. The general did not chase after Lin. He just watched as the situation developed between Lin Yi and Li Zhaoyi. "Even if it's an illusion, I won't attack you." Lin Yi shook his head and smiled bitterly. He could ruthlessly slaughter thousands of enemies, but he couldn't attack Li Zhaoyi, even if he knew it was fake. The Great Way was ruthless. But a truly ruthless person could not set foot on the peak. The insistence in Lin Yi's heart was to protect everyone around him. He worked hard to strengthen himself to achieve this goal. If he attacked Li Zhaoyi, he would completely overthrow his own beliefs. This illusion was really ruthless. The corners of Li Zhaoyi's mouth curled into a strange smile, and she nodded lightly. "You clearly know that this is an illusion, and you clearly know how to escape from it, yet you're still unwilling to make a move. This can be considered as a type of illusion, so you've failed this test." "If I fail, then I fail. I believe there will always be other ways to get out of the illusion." Lin Yi smiled faintly. When he was determined that he would not kill Li Zhaoyi in exchange for getting out of the illusion, his state of mind improved a lot. Like a lost traveler who had found the right direction, his sea of consciousness was extremely clear. So, Lin Yi was not joking. He was really confident that he could find other ways to get out of the illusion. "There are other ways. Since you don't want to kill me, then you can go to hell." Li Zhaoyi smiled sweetly and turned the dagger in her hand. The tip of the dagger was like a venomous snake spitting out its tongue, stabbing towards Lin Yi's chest. At the same time, Languza and the general behind Lin Yi also launched a surprise attack at the same time, completely blocking off Lin Yi's escape route. All forms are fabricated. All the laws are like a dream, an illusion, a bubble, and a shadow, like dew or lightning. It should be viewed as such. This sentence suddenly appeared in Lin Yi's mind. His sea of consciousness suddenly became calm, and his primordial spirit became crystal clear, faintly radiating light. Lin Yi had a kind of understanding that his primordial spirit had touched the opportunity to break through because of the improvement of his state of mind. As long as he was willing, he could completely split a mountain with a single thought. After going through the ancient small Jianghu, the breakthrough of Lin Yi's primordial spirit could naturally bring along the breakthrough of his body. Therefore, he did not need the mountain-gazing pill, because he was already at the top of a mountain and could split it at any time. The attacks of Li Zhaoyi and Languza came instantly, but Lin Yi did not move at all, letting them hit him. However, those murderous moves were like a light breeze in the end, directly passing through Lin Yi's body, not causing him the slightest bit of harm. All forms are fabricated. The illusion is just a bubble after all. As Li Zhaoyi and the other two turned into illusory shadows and passed through Lin Yi, the entire illusion began to collapse like a broken mirror. Lin Yi smiled indifferently, feeling extremely relaxed. He just stood there, watching the world turn into nothingness. This illusion, the owner of the relic, tested one's mind. Lin Yi did not know whether he had passed or not. But for him, in addition to having a clear conscience and no regrets, he had also gained a lot. Lin Yi, you're awake? Li Zhaoyi's concerned greeting sounded in his ear. Lin Yi was in a trance for a moment before he woke up from the illusion. He saw that she was just beside him. Although there was some eagerness in her eyes, her pretty face still maintained its previous coldness. Lin immediately revealed a relieved smile. This was the real Li Zhaoyi. Have I lost consciousness for a long time? Where's Languza? Lin Yi nodded at Li Zhaoyi, and then looked around, sizing up the place where he was. This was a stone room about 200 square meters, about 5 meters high, and the ceiling was inlaid with many fist-sized luminous pearls, emitting a soft light, so the stone room was well lit. Chapter 6200. Fortunately, Lin Yi was already able to communicate with the space in the jade pendant and had a brief conversation with the ghost, which was enough to prove that he was indeed not in the illusion. I just woke up a little earlier than you. Languza is not with us. Perhaps he hasn't been able to come over yet. Li Zhaoyi shook her head slightly and asked after a pause, Lin Yi, are you also in the illusion? That's right. It seems that you have also experienced the test of the illusion. I didn't expect you to be the first to break free. Lin Yi smiled faintly and turned to look at Li Zhaoyi. When they first entered, Li Zhaoyi should have been behind Lin. Now that she had woken up before Lin Yi, it was obvious that her performance in the illusion was stronger than his. This is indeed a test, and I have successfully passed it. The owner of the ruins left a wisp of his will in the illusion, indicating how I can obtain his inheritance. Li Zhaoyi did not elaborate and gestured for Lin Yi to follow her to the jade pill furnace. Lin Yi suddenly realized that Li Zhaoyi in the illusion had become more and more abnormal at the last moment. It probably had something to do with Li Zhaoyi passing the test. The owner of the ruins had chosen Li Zhaoyi, so he was a little careless with Lin Yi and did not even reveal the will in the illusion. As for what Li Zhaoyi had experienced in the illusion, Lin Yi would not inquire about it. There was no need to do anything unnecessary, as long as she successfully obtained the inheritance she wanted. Li Zhaoyi walked to the front of the jade elixir furnace and found the position she wanted in the complex and mysterious lines. She quickly stretched out her finger and pointed at 7 different places. A beam of light shot up from the mouth of the jade elixir furnace and connected to the ceiling. In an instant, countless rays of light spread out and lit up the entire ceiling. The luminous pearls that were originally used for illumination became nodes where the light converged. In the face of such a spectacular scene, Lin Yi sighed. He thought to himself that it was fortunate that this opening method was different from the illusion. Otherwise, he would really think that he had experienced the illusion again. After the ceiling was covered with light, a staircase appeared out of thin air, connected to a platform formed by light above. Lin Yi's spiritual sense could easily sweep up and see what was on the platform. In fact, there was nothing on it, only a small door formed by 2 rays of light. Lin Yi guessed that it was used to receive the inheritance. Lin, let's go up. Li Xiaoyi smiled sweetly at Lin Yi and waited for him to come forward before they stepped up the stairs together. Do these two little doors of light mean that each of us has to enter one of them? Did the owner of the relic say which door you wanted to enter? Lin Yi asked with a smile. He did not mind what he would obtain. After all, in terms of alchemy, he had Han Jingjing. There was no need for any ancient legacy. If Li Xiaoyi could enter both doors at the same time, Lin Yi would most likely give up the opportunity to enter. That's what it means, and one person can only enter one door. It doesn't matter which door you enter. In the end, where you will end up is predestined. The door is not the key, but the person is. Li Xiaoyi did not hide anything and said generously. Lin Yi suddenly realized that the owner of the relic had indeed arranged everything. No matter which door Li Xiaoyi entered, she would get the real inheritance in the end. He did not pass the illusion test perfectly, so entering the light door would probably only get some rewards and compensation. As for Languza, this guy probably couldn't pull himself out of the illusion. He didn't even have the chance to get a reward or compensation. Lin Yi could guess a thing or two about his illusion. If it wasn't a place of debauchery, then it would be countless fighting opponents. In that case, let's go in. Junior sister, which side do you choose? Lin Yi and Li Xiaoyi stood in front of the light door on the platform, ready to enter. It doesn't matter, let's go in like this. Li Xiaoyi pointed to the light door in front of her. Okay, then let's go in. Lin Yi shrugged, smiled at Li Xiaoyi, and stepped into the light door at the same time. This time, it didn't feel like he was teleporting. His vision blurred, and he found himself in a stone room that was only 5 to 6 square meters in size. There was nothing else in the room other than a stone platform that was half a person's height and 2 palms wide. On top of the platform was a jade box with a seal on it. This was evidently Lin Yi's reward. The owner of the relic's attainments in array Taoism were even inferior to that ghost. If he had set up the restriction with all his strength, Lin Yi would not have been able to break it. Fortunately, the restriction on the jade box was only used to prevent damage caused by the passage of time. With Lin Yi's ability, it was very easy to break it. After opening the jade box, there was a book of elixir formulas inside. Lin Yi was immediately overjoyed. Among the elixir items, what he wanted the most was elixir formulas. As long as he had the elixir formulas, the Shenong Cauldron's automatic alchemy system could refine elixirs. Obtaining this book of elixir formulas was a great harvest this time. Let's see how different the ancient elixir formulas are from the current ones. Lin Yi was not in a hurry to leave and directly looked through the elixir formulas. If he was not wrong, the ancient elixir formulas would mostly use the spiritual awareness elixir fire and the 5 elements true qi elixir fire at the same time, just like the elixir formulas in the previous alchemy test. The elixirs refined in this way were of the highest level among the same level. Lin Yi was very looking forward to it. On the Heaven Stage Island, perhaps only he and Li Xiaoyi could refine this kind of elixir formula. Spirit Beast Inner Elixir. Lin Yi suddenly whispered. He did not expect to find a new way of alchemy after only looking at 2 elixir formulas. Originally, the Spirit Beast clan's demand for elixirs was very low, because the elixirs used by cultivators were not of much use to the Spirit Beast clan. For example, the mountain gazing elixir could increase the chance of human cultivators breaking through the mountain opening stage, but the Spirit Beast clan did not need elixirs at all. As long as the bloodline was good enough, they could break through smoothly by themselves. There were also healing elixirs such as Recover Elixir, which had little effect on the Spirit Beast. However, this elixir formula listed many elixirs that could be taken by the Spirit Beast, all of which were mainly used by the Spirit Beast Inner Elixir. Whether it was for healing, breakthrough, or even for changing the bloodline, if it could really be refined, the entire Spirit Beast clan would probably fall into a frenzy. In fact, it was not that Lin Yi had not thought about using the Spirit Beast Inner Elixir for alchemy. After all, the Sea Beast Inner Elixir could be used for alchemy, but there were still differences between the two. Moreover, the elixirs refined from the Sea Beast Inner Elixir could be provided to human cultivators. However, most of the elixirs refined from the Spirit Beast Inner Elixir were for spirit beasts. Human cultivators could use them, but the effect was definitely not as good as the elixirs refined from the spiritual medicine. Chapter 6201. The ghost thing could not help but say, "Boy, with this thing, it will be much easier for you to support a few spirit beast masters in the future. However, you can't kill spirit beasts at will for the sake of alchemy. Although I'm not the Azure Dragon Elder from back then, the Spirit Beast clan is still my root." "Senior Ghost, don't worry. Am I that kind of person? Besides, the Spirit Beast clan follows the law of the jungle. I don't need to hunt them. There will naturally be a lot of inner cores left. When the news is released, will there be no need to worry that no one will send me inner cores?" Lin Yi smiled faintly. He did not continue to look at the collection of elixir prescriptions. He turned his hand and put it into the space in the jade pendant. This kind of good thing could not be put in a storage bag casually. It was safer to put it in the space. "If you release the news that you can refine elixirs for the Spirit Beast clan, do you believe that they will immediately kidnap you and use you as an alchemy machine?" The ghost thing laughed strangely and mercilessly attacked Lin Yi. "After hearing what you said, I'm really speechless." Lin Yi shook his head helplessly. This possibility really existed. The Spirit Beast clan was now so powerful and there were many masters. If they really wanted to kidnap Lin Yi, even if he was in the North Island or Shanghai Tianhua, he would not be able to escape. The Spirit Beast clan did not even care about the ancient aristocratic families. So, when it's time to keep a low profile, you should continue to keep a low profile. Before you have enough strength to protect yourself, the fact that you can refine elixirs for the Spirit Beast clan must not be leaked. It was rare for the ghost thing to seriously instruct Lin Yi. This matter was really not a joke. He had to take it seriously. "Don't worry, I know what I'm doing." Lin Yi nodded and agreed. He was still very cautious in this regard. The so-called trump card was only counted if no one knew about it. What kind of trump card was it if everyone knew about it? In this world where the weak were prey to the strong and the strong were respected, only those who had more trump cards could survive better. Lin Yi was well aware of this. After putting away the pill formula collection, there was nothing left in the stone room. Lin Yi did not stay any longer. He turned around and stepped into the light door, returning to the platform. Unexpectedly, Li Zhaoyi had been waiting at the door for a long time, which surprised Lin. "Shouldn't it take more time to accept the inheritance?" "Lin Yi, I've obtained the legacy of the owner of the relic as well as this pill furnace. What have you gained?" Li Zhaoyi flipped her hand and took out a small and exquisite pill furnace. From the shape and the lines on it, it was exactly the same as the jade pill furnace from before, only the size was a lot different. The jade pill furnace was probably made based on this model. "This pill furnace is not bad. It looks like a very high-grade tool." Lin Yi nodded. He had the Shinong cauldron himself, so he had some foresight when it came to appraising pill furnaces. In terms of grade, the pill furnace obtained by Li Zhaoyi might be slightly inferior to the peak of the Shinong cauldron, but it was definitely not by much. In the entire Heaven Stage Island, it was estimated that one could not find a better pill furnace than this one. The most important thing was that this pill furnace was the same as Lin Yi's Shinong cauldron. It would not be picky about the level of the user. Looking at Li Zhaoyi's appearance, it was obvious that she was already able to control this pill furnace. Many vessels of this level could not be operated by cultivators who were not at the sea-splitting stage or above. Yes, it's called the 9 Revolutions Heaven Pill Furnace. The biggest advantage is that it can save the true chi and spiritual sense of an alchemist. Originally, it requires a lot of strength, but after using the 9 Revolutions Heaven Pill Furnace, it only requires a little bit of strength. Moreover, this is only the most basic function. When I become stronger, new functions will appear. Li Zhaoyi, who had such a quiet temperament, could not help but show a happy expression. It could be seen how much she liked this pill furnace. Amazing! If you had this pill furnace earlier, you would have been able to refine the recovery pill by yourself. Lin Yi praised sincerely. Li Zhaoyi's talent in alchemy was already terrifying, and with the 9 revolving sky elixir furnace, it was like adding wings to a tiger. Not to mention mystic 3rd level elixirs, even mystic 4th level elixirs could be refined quickly. Li Zhaoyi's pretty face was slightly red. It seemed that she had once again recalled the scene of refining the recovery pill. She herself was not clear. If she had this 9 revolutions heaven pill furnace at the beginning, would she not have needed Lin Yi's help? Or, if things were to go back in time, would she choose to let Lin Yi help again? The answer seemed to be yes. Thinking of this, Li Xiaoyi's heart was full of shyness. She quickly shook her head to get rid of these thoughts. Pretending to be calm, she said, "Perhaps I can try in the future. By the way, I can't pass on the alchemy inheritance I obtained to you for the time being. I will only be able to study and compare notes with you after I thoroughly understand it." "That's okay. To tell you the truth, I'm not too interested in alchemy. The most important thing is to improve my own strength. If you can achieve something in alchemy, I will ask you to help me refine pills in the future. However, for the sake of being fellow apprentices, you should at least give me a cheaper price, right?" Lin Yi waved his hand and joked with Li Xiaoyi with a smile. Li Xiaoyi secretly smiled, but said seriously, "That won't do. We are friends, but I can't give you anything less. I can't break the rules. We're all family, there's no such thing as rules." Lin Yi continued to joke. At the same time, he took out the pill recipe from the space and said, "I obtained this pill recipe. Do you have it in your inheritance? If not, I will make a copy for you later." Ancient pill recipe? Li Xiaoyi's eyes lit up. When she heard Lin Yi say that they were all family, she was very shy, but now she couldn't care less. She reached out and took the book in Lin Yi's hand. She didn't stand on ceremony and directly flipped through it. After a while, Li Xiaoyi closed the book in satisfaction and returned it to Lin. "It really is a different world. In the inheritance I obtained, there are indeed records of this, but it is not as detailed as your pill recipe collection. Then we have a deal. You must give me a copy later." "But I will put it away first and make a copy for you later. Now let's find where Languza is." Lin Yi put the pill recipe collection back into the space of the jade pendant, then turned his head and looked around, looking for traces of Languza. This guy had fallen into an illusion and hadn't come out yet. Where was his real body? Judging from the previous situation, it should be here. Or, the experience in the dark void was not an illusion, but real? Had Languza actually not come out of the void? Chapter 6202. In the inheritance of the owner of the ruins, there was naturally information about the ruins. It could be said that Li Xiaoyi had become the new owner of the ruins. After walking down the stairs, the light in the jade furnace began to shrink. The lines on the ceiling slowly dimmed, and the platform and stairs disappeared. Li Xiaoyi did not care about this. She had already obtained the inheritance, so there was no need to stay here. She came to the wall of the stone room and stretched out her slender hand to pat a few spots. A thick darkness silently appeared on the wall. It was the entrance to the void. Lin Yi thought that it was not all an illusion. It was true that they had been floating in the void, but it was hard to say how long they had been floating. Li Xiaoyi did not let Lin Yi enter with her. Instead, she reached in and felt around a few times. Then she pulled hard and Languza was pulled out. Languza, who was still a little confused at first, quickly woke up. When he saw Lin Yi and Li Xiaoyi, he immediately grinned. "Boss, sister-in-law, how did you get here earlier than me?" "Oh, I understand. You must not have stayed in the illusion for long, right? If you knew it was an illusion, why did you take so long to come out?" Lin Yi looked at Languza speechlessly. This guy could see through the essence of the illusion, so he should be able to quickly break through the illusion like him. No matter whether he passed the test or not, returning to the real world was the inevitable outcome. "I know it's an illusion, but I don't want to leave for a while. Boss, you don't know, in the illusion, I ate countless delicacies that I had never eaten before. There were also many powerful guys who fought with me. Boss and sister-in-law were also accompanying me, so I didn't think it would matter if I stayed a little longer. Anyway, you will wake me up when you are done. Do you think I am wrong?" Languza had a proud expression on his face, as if he had done something great. Lin Yi's face was full of black lines. He really didn't know what to say about this guy. Don't be fooled by his careless and carefree appearance all day long. In fact, he was actually very smart. At least he could see through many things, and his predictions weren't too wrong. Li Xiaoyi, on the other hand, glared at Lan Guja in embarrassment and annoyance. It was too easy for people to have wild and fanciful thoughts when he said things like, "You guys are done." However, she could not say much because it would feel wrong no matter what she said. "Right, boss? I got a token in the illusion. I didn't expect it to really exist." Languza seemed to have suddenly thought of something. He mysteriously took out a dark golden token from his clothes. It was no bigger than half a palm, but there was a faint but powerful aura flowing on it. It was definitely not something simple. "What token is this?" Lin took it and looked at it twice. He really couldn't see its use, so he looked up at Languza and asked him to explain. Languza chuckled and scratched the back of his head. "Boss, this is the control token of that annoying monkey. I've fought with that monkey a few times in the illusion realm, but unfortunately, I've lost more than I've won. But it was really fun to fight with it. With this token, I don't need to be afraid of having no opponents in the future." Lin Yi was suddenly overjoyed. If it was really the control token of the golden-haired monkey, it was definitely a big gain. It was a puppet at the early stage of Earth opening, and it had an indestructible body. Even if it was damaged, it could repair itself. If it really broke out with its full strength, ordinary practitioners at the late stage of Earth opening might not be its opponent. Now that he was going to explore the South Continent, it was a good thing for Lin Yi and Languza to have such a golden-haired monkey puppet with him. "Languza, you are lucky to get the control token of the golden-haired monkey. Keep it well." Lin Yi smiled and returned the dark golden token to Languza. Although this guy didn't pass the illusion test, it was enough to get the control token of the golden-haired monkey. Anyway, it was useless to give him the things about alchemy. Speaking of which, he didn't know what the two people of the Zheng family would get. According to the style of the owner of the ruins, anyone who came here would get something. But those two guys were different from Lin Yi and the other two. It was estimated that it would be difficult for them to get anything good. Languza put away the dark golden control token and didn't talk to Lin. In the illusion, he refined the control token, and it would be more troublesome to transfer it to Lin Yi. Moreover, he was Lin Yi's little brother. The golden-haired monkey would be the same whether it followed him or Lin Yi. There was no difference at all. It really didn't matter who had the token. Let's go out first." Li Zhaoyi raised his hand and opened another passage. It was a very normal staircase, and there was no spiritual sense restriction. Lin Yi could easily see the scene outside the passage. The level of the owner of the ruins Array Dao is really amazing. We didn't find the stone room at all when we were standing outside, but we can see the situation outside clearly from inside. Lin Yi exclaimed. He had found that outside the passage was the edge of the big pit. To be exact, it was where a rockery was. This is a one-way passage. You naturally can't find it outside. If you want to come in, you have to pass the test. Li Zhaoyi smiled gently and walked out side by side with Lin. Languza tactfully followed behind and didn't disturb their conversation. In that case, we really should thank the guy named Ma Weidong. If it weren't for them, it wouldn't be so easy to find this place. Lin Yi secretly sighed. This was really a coincidence. The place they chose to fight with Ma Weidong's group of 7 was actually the entrance to the real ruins. Not only that, Ma Weidong's group of 7 also used a powerful killing move to force the entrance out. For this, they also sacrificed the lives of 6 of them. It was definitely a model example of not benefiting oneself but helping others. That's true. The entrance is isolated from the detection of spiritual sense. If we want to find this place, we must search every inch of the entire palace. We don't have enough time. Li Zhaoyi nodded in agreement. She had obtained the most precious inheritance in the ruins and the 9 cycles heavenly elixir furnace that was not inferior to the Shenong cauldron. To be honest, she was indeed a little grateful to Ma Weidong and the others. As the 3 of them walked out of the passage, the whole palace began to fade. Lin Yi was still a little surprised, but Li Zhaoyi looked calm, as if she had already expected this. The inheritance of the ruins appears once every 1,000 years. We obtained this inheritance, so the palace here is about to disappear and will only appear again after 1,000 years. Li Zhaoyi explained a little, and Lin Yi finally understood. Chapter 6203. They were worried that we would plunder more treasures, So they took advantage of the fact that they made the palace illusory before we started. Lin Yi smiled slightly and did not care too much in his heart. The most precious thing was already in their hands, and it did not matter whether they had the rest or not. Now the only thing he cared about was whether the three of them could return to the platform on the sea. How Zili and the others were still waiting there. We have to leave some for the future. Li Zhaoyi's lips curled up slightly, and after a short pause, she continued, the ruins have disappeared, and the array was destroyed by Ma Weidong and the others. I am not sure whether the transmission array back to the platform can still be used. Maybe we have to find a way to find them ourselves. Let's go and take a look first. Lin Yi said with a headache. If they could not go back through the transmission array, it would be troublesome. The flying spirit beasts were all on the platform. Because the two Zheng family members were here, it would be a little uncomfortable to use the flying saucer to take them. In addition, without the directional jade plate, Lin Yi did not know whether he could find the location of the platform on the sea. They could not go back to Weiwan City first, and then go there according to memory, right? Li Zhaoyi did not say anything more, and flew away with Lin Yi and Languza. Zheng Dongjue and Zheng Tianqing had passed through the square and were now in the main hall. There was nothing good there, and they came in as servants. Even if the owner of the ruins would compensate them, it would probably be some worthless trinkets. The palace illusory was extremely fast, and Lin Yi and the other two passed through the main hall directly, without deliberately calling out to the two Zheng family members. The two guys were not stupid. After seeing their actions, they did not even ask why and immediately ran behind them. When all five of them ran through the square and rushed out of the palace, the entire palace completely disappeared, and the original place became a lush forest again. This level of array Dao is really amazing. Unfortunately, there are no related ancient books left in the ruins. Lin Yi sighed softly, looking at the disappeared palace and said with pity, "Brat, don't be so ungrateful. That pill recipe collection is much more precious than the array formation manual. Using spirit beast cores to refine pills that spirit beasts can consume is only a small part of it. There are also those pill recipes that you can't understand. Those are the true treasures. On top of that, although the owner of this relic is very powerful in terms of formations, after we obtain the myriad amplification formation diagram, our future achievements in the Tao of formations might not necessarily be lower than his. In fact, we might even be much stronger than him." The ghostly thing cackled strangely, and its tone was rather arrogant. Lin Yi didn't refute it. This damn thing was also an almighty being in the past, and it was extremely proud and arrogant. His formation Tao was indeed not as good as the owner of the ruins at the moment, but after studying the myriad amplification formation diagram, he would definitely make great progress. In the future, it would be very likely that he would be able to easily break these formations set up by the owner of the ruins. Lin Yi, the portal to the offshore platform has disappeared. Li Zhaoyi scanned with his divine sense and immediately looked at Lin. The original arrangement of the owner of the ruins was for the inheritor to return from the original route, but he didn't expect that an explorer like Ma Weidong would appear and destroy the stability of the formation space, causing the activated transmission formation to be destroyed. In fact, it couldn't be said to be destroyed. To be more precise, it should be said that it was closed. As long as the conditions could be met, the transmission formation could be opened immediately. Unfortunately, to open it, one had to complete the test over there, and it couldn't be done here. Lin Yi slapped his forehead. This was the worst-case scenario. If they couldn't go back through the transmission formation, they could only think of other ways to leave Lufeng Forest. It would be best if they didn't use the flying saucer. I hope that Hao Zili and the others can go back to Weiwan City first to wait for us, so that we don't have to make a trip. Lin Yi shook his head and fully extended his divine sense to begin to search the nearby area. At least, he had to determine his location first. With the disappearance of the palace, the formation in this area also began to disappear. Even without Li Zhaoyi's reminder, Lin Yi could feel that this place would soon merge back into Lufeng Forest. Zheng Dongjue and Zheng Tianqing didn't say a word, and they were 5 or 6 steps away from Lin Yi's group. While maintaining a certain distance, they didn't dare to be left behind too much. Originally, they thought that with the information of the ruins, The two of them would definitely benefit the most from this exploration. They didn't expect that in the end, they would be excluded from the official sequence of the ruins exploration. When the palace disappeared, they also gained something. Each of them had a Thunder Xian pill. This thing might be extremely precious in the hands of others, but it was useless to them. Although they didn't know what benefits Lin Yi and Li Zhaoyi had obtained in the ruins, they could guess that it was definitely many times better than their Thunder Xian pills. If it weren't for their low strength, Zheng Tianqing would have already taken action to snatch it. Lin Yi didn't pay attention to these two guys who were like burdens. If it weren't for the sake of Dan Hall and Li Zhaoyi, he would have already dealt with them. Boss, what do we do now? Are we going to take the risk in this forest? Languza came over and laughed. He felt that there must be a lot of powerful existences in this kind of place. If they fought their way out, it would be very interesting. Before Lin Yi had time to answer, his expression changed slightly. Without saying anything else, he immediately transmitted his voice to Li Zhaoyi and Languza. Give me all your storage items. Leave some ordinary healing elixirs, spiritual jades, and other items on you. Be hidden, don't let the Tu Jing family find out. Li Zhaoyi and Languza trusted Lin Yi very much. Without asking what he wanted to do, they directly took off their storage bags, avoided the eyes and ears of the Tu Jing family members, and sent them to Lin Yi's hands. With their strength, it was very easy to hide from the Tu Jing family members. Although Zheng Tianqing and Zheng Dongjue had been paying attention to Lin Yi's movements, they still didn't find out that he had moved the storage bags. Lin Yi's mouth curled up. With a flip of his hand, he put the storage bags of the Tu Jing family members into the space of the jade pendant. At the same time, he also put the more important items in the storage bag that he used as decoration into the space. Only then did he feel relieved and clapped his hands. It wasn't until now that Languza and Li Zhaoyi understood why Lin Yi did this. Because their divine senses had also discovered that more than a dozen powerful spirit beasts were quickly surrounding this direction. Their target was very clear, it was Lin Yi's group of 5. Chapter 6204. If Lin Yi was alone, these spiritual beasts would not be able to catch him no matter how hard they tried to surround him. However, Languza and Li Zhaoyi were still here, so he could not give up on them. Once he took them with him, his speed would be reduced to less than 10%. There was almost no suspense in being caught by the spiritual beasts, so Lin Yi simply gave up the idea of escaping. In the blink of an eye, 15 spiritual beasts completed the encirclement. All of them turned into human forms and surrounded Lin Yi and the others. Everyone, is there anything I can help you with? Lin Yi raised his eyebrows slightly and asked with his fists clasped in a neither servile nor overbearing manner. These 15 spiritual beasts were very powerful. Indeed, none of them were lower than the mountain opening stage. 5 of them had even reached the earth opening stage. Lin Yi thought that he and Languza could deal with 1 or 2 earth opening stage spiritual beasts if they joined hands, but they were definitely not a match for 5. Moreover, the 10 mountain opening stage spiritual beasts were not just for show. They were powerful existences that could kill people. I heard that you found the ancient ruins here. Hand over all the things you have found, and maybe I can let you live. Otherwise, this day next year will be the anniversary of your death. The leading spiritual beast said in a cold tone. Lin Yi could vaguely sense that its strength was between the peak of the earth opening stage and the late stage of the earth opening stage. Just this spiritual beast alone could probably deal with both Lin Yi and Languza. It was a pity that Lin Yi did not have time to break through the mountain opening stage. Although his spirit was already at the level of mountain opening stage, he still had to make good preparations to break through to the giant realm. If he waited for Lin Yi to break through the mountain opening stage, he would be much more confident in dealing with these spiritual beasts. Is there any misunderstanding? Where did we find the ancient ruins? We haven't even seen the shadow of the ruins. How can we get things like this? Lin Yi pretended to be surprised and said innocently with his hands spread out. Li Zhaoyi's and Lin Yi's eyes met vaguely. Both of them were a little confused. This spiritual beast said that he had heard of it. Who did he hear it from? Obviously, other than Ma Weidong, it couldn't be anyone else. That fellow seemed to really hate Lin Yi and Li Zhaoyi. He knew that he could not deal with them, so he simply used a trick to get the spirit beasts to besiege Lin Yi and Li Zhaoyi. No wonder they were all at the mountain opening stage and above. There were even 5 earth opening stage experts. Ma Weidong had clearly revealed the strength of Lin Yi and the others to the spirit beast clan. However, they did not know what kind of relationship Ma Weidong had with the spirit beast clan. If they were extremely close, they would really be in danger today. After all, Ma Weidong's 6 companions had died tragically because of Lin. If the spirit beast clan wanted to stand up for Ma Weidong, none of Lin Yi's group could stop them. Don't play tricks. It won't do you any good. The leading spiritual beast sneered. He raised his chin slightly and gestured for a spirit beast at the mountain opening stage to search them. Languza and Li Zhaoyi both admired Lin Yi's reaction. Fortunately, he had already taken away their storage bags. Otherwise, all their gains would have been taken away by the spirit beast clan. Li Zhaoyi still did not know about the space in Lin Yi's jade pendant, but she was very clear that her storage bag was not with Lin Yi now. How he did it was not important. What was important was that the 9 transformation heavenly elixir furnace would not be lost because of this. This is my storage bag. If you want to search it, you can take it. If you are too presumptuous, don't blame me for dying together with you. Lin Yi's face suddenly darkened. After throwing out his storage bag, 2 balls of flames appeared in his palms. This was the initial preparation for the super pill firebomb. The spirit beast, who had just taken 2 steps, paused slightly. He felt that Lin Yi was extremely dangerous and that if he continued to approach him, he would probably die without a burial place. Hence, he subconsciously stopped in his tracks. The spirit beast clan was many times stronger than humans in terms of premonition of danger. Hence, all the spirit beasts present were certain that what Lin Yi said about dying together with them was likely to be true. At the very least, the terrifying fluctuations were enough to cause harm to them. Furthermore, the dangerous aura in Lin Yi's hands was still rising and would soon affect their lives. Looking at Lin Yi's determined expression, the spirit beast finally gave up on the idea of searching them. He took the storage bag that Lin Yi had thrown out and briefly checked it before shaking his head at the leading spirit beast. Languza and Li Zhaoyi did not have any other storage bags on them. This could be confirmed without a search. Hence, the leading spirit beast did not insist, but his eyes flickered with displeasure. As for Zheng Tianqing and Zheng Dongjue, they were also hastily searched and did not find what they were looking for. The faces of the spirit beast clan experts all darkened. Lin Yi was relieved. He could at least confirm one thing, which was that Ma Weidong's relationship with the spirit beast clan was quite ordinary. It seemed hopeless for the spirit beast clan to take revenge. This time, that fellow must have deliberately leaked the news to the spirit beast clan. Since Lin Yi and the others did not have any items from the ruins on them, Ma Weidong might go for wool and come home shorn. In turn, he would be hated by the spirit beast clan. How is it? I said that we didn't find any ruins, nor did we get anything from the ruins. Do you all believe me now? We're all very busy, so shall we part ways here? Lin Yi looked at the leading spirit beast and asked with a faint smile. The things in his palms continued to increase. Anyway, it was used to scare them. It didn't matter whether he could control the direction or not. Lin Yi did not really want to use the super pill firebomb. They were now surrounded. If he wanted to attack all the spirit beast experts, Lin Yi and the others would be the first to be affected by the explosion. I advise you not to resist. Although your martial arts skill looks very powerful, we are not afraid of a mystic ascension great perfection move. If you don't believe me, you can try. Now I'll give you 2 choices. 1, come with us. I'm not sure when we'll let you go. 2, let's fight and let you give up first. The leading spirit beast still maintained enough indifference. As he spoke, he had already ordered the rest of the spirit beasts to start operating the battle formation, ready to deal with Lin Yi at any time. Lin Yi could not help but have a headache. The battle formation of the spirit beast clan was actually very crude, but no matter how crude it was still a battle formation that could improve their strength. The few of them might not be a match for these spirit beasts alone, let alone fighting in a formation. Chapter 6205. Boss, let's fight. We're not afraid of them. You and sister-in-law should step back and see how I'll deal with them. Languza hated to see people being arrogant in front of him. "It's just a fight, I'm afraid you won't fight." The addiction from the illusion was hooked once more, and the guy rolled up his sleeves, ready to fight. Lin Yi quickly dispelled the super pill firebomb and pulled him back. "Don't be impulsive. These people don't seem to have murderous intent. It's not the time to fight with your life." Lin Yi comforted Languza secretly and winked at Li Zhaoyi at the same time. If Lin Yi wanted to leave, these masters of the Spirit Beast clan could not stop him. For the sake of Li Zhaoyi and Languza, he decided to bear with it and see. This was also because the other party did not show any murderous intent. It was just that the attitude of the strong looking down on the weak was a little unpleasant. Languza snorted and glared at the leading spirit beast. Since his boss had spoken, he had to listen no matter what. He could only stay by the side of Lin Yi and Lin. If anything went wrong, he could act immediately. There's a saying in the human clan that a wise man submits to circumstances. It seems that you're also a wise man. The leading spirit beast sneered. When Lin Yi dispersed the super pill firebomb in his hand, he knew that there would be no fight. Lin Yi did not care about these small mockery. He said indifferently, "We're not afraid of you. We're just a little curious about where you'll take us. Anyway, coming to Lufeng Forest is an adventure. If there's a chance, it's not a bad idea to go to the territory of the Spirit Beast clan." If they were in the base camp of the Spirit Beast clan on the South Island, Lin Yi might not dare to be so arrogant. He would risk his life to take Li Zhaoyi and Languza away. But now, they were just a team of spirit beasts in Lufeng Forest, so it was not a big deal to go with them. The super pill firebomb could not be used to its maximum effect when it was surrounded, but once these spirit beasts gathered together, the opportunity naturally appeared. "You have some courage. If that's the case, come with us and don't resist." The leading spirit beast shook its head at the subordinates next to it. 5 transformed spirit beasts each took out a light gray rope and were ready to tie up Lin Yi and the others. Generally, human cultivators would use restrictions to seal the enemy's cultivation to prevent resistance, but these spirit beasts were obviously more direct. This is the spirit binding rope that the spirit beasts use to restrain their strength. Once a human practitioner is tied up, their chi will be sealed. But don't you worry, kid. The spirit binding rope can control your chi, but it can't control your spirit. A spirit elixir fire can easily break the spirit binding rope. The ghostly thing explained the origin of the light gray rope, making Lin Yi feel more at ease. Originally, Lin Yi with the spiritual power. He felt a little bit. Lin Yi was calm. He did not want to be taken away by the spirit beasts without being able to resist at all. Languza turned to look at Lin. This feeling of being tied up made him very unhappy. As long as Lin Yi made the slightest movement, he would immediately attack. "Let them tie us, these ropes are useless to us." Lin Yi transmitted his voice to Languza and Li Zhaoyi, indicating that they should not resist. Zheng Dongjue and Jing Tianqing were both weak. When they saw that Lin Yi and the others did not react, they became even more docile and obedient. They were afraid that they would anger the spirit beasts and be crushed to death. The 5 people's hands were tied behind their backs. After their true chi was sealed, they followed these spirit beast masters to the spirit beast encampment in Lufeng Forest. Along the way, they did not make things too difficult for Lin Yi and the others. Knowing that the spirit binding ropes had sealed their true chi, the spirit beasts changed back to their original forms and hurried along with them. Of course, the spirit beasts did not carry the captives. Instead, a few flying spirit beasts grabbed the ropes on their bodies and dangled them in the air. Lin Yi was in the air, so his divine sense was not affected at all. He easily covered the vast area around him. However, he could not see the edge of Lufeng Forest from his current position. Obviously, the ruins were in the deepest part of Lufeng Forest. He did not know why the spirit beasts had arranged so many masters here. After a while, the spirit beasts brought Lin Yi and the others to a hidden valley. This was the encampment that the spirit beasts had arranged in Lufeng Forest. The reason they brought them here so easily was probably because they did not want to leave. If Lin Yi and the others had not surrendered, these spirit beasts would not have exposed the location of their encampment. After passing through the defensive formation, The valley could be said to be a completely different world. Lin Yi was curious as to how Ma Weidong had managed to inform them of this place. It was quite impossible for ordinary people to find this valley, let alone send a message through the formation outside the valley. As expected of a fellow who was able to find the ruins and enter it, his methods in this area were truly astonishing. Lock them up in the dungeon first. We'll deal with them when we have time. I don't believe that we can't find the things in the ruins. The leading spirit beast glanced coldly at Lin Yi and the others, then waved his hand for his subordinates to take them away. Jing Tianqing's eyes turned. He felt that this was an opportunity and quickly called out, "My lord! The two of us are not with them. I can prove that they have indeed entered the ruins and obtained the treasures. We entered through the servants' small door, so we have no right to obtain the things in the ruins. However, the three of them are different. I'm sure that they must have hidden the treasures." "Oh? So you're not with them? Then tell me, where did they hide the treasures? As long as you tell me, I'll make the decision to let you go." The eyes of the leading spirit beast were filled with faint disdain, but he did not reject Jing Tianqing's initiative to surrender. "I'm not very sure where they hid the treasures. If my lord trusts me, I'll definitely make them obediently tell me." Jing Tianqing was slightly stunned, but he still braced himself and pleaded with the leading spirit beast. "Surnamed Zheng, you really are cruel and unscrupulous. If it wasn't for boss, would you have been able to survive until now? Ungrateful thing. Once I get out of here, the first thing I'll do is beat you to death." Languza glared at Jing Tianqing and scolded loudly. Lin Yi was not surprised at all. This kind of behavior from Jing Tianqing was in line with his character. It would be strange if he really was in the same boat as Lin Yi. Chapter 6206. No matter what it was, as long as Lin Yi was there, he would definitely be able to solve the problem. This had almost become a deep-rooted thought in Li Zhaoyi's subconscious. You don't know where they hid the things, and you appeared in the same place as them. Why should I believe you? Who knows if you want to take the opportunity to get them out together? The leading spirit beast waved its hand and said impatiently, unless Jing Tianqing could produce concrete evidence to prove that he knew what Lin Yi and the others had found in the ruins, it would be meaningless to the spirit beast clan. "My lord, the two of us are not on the same side as the three of them. We are even sworn enemies. If it weren't for the fact that I'm weak, I would have killed them long ago. If you don't believe me, you can release me and watch me kill one or two of them to prove my position." Jing Tianqing was ready to risk everything. He could see that the spirit beast did not take him seriously and might even kill him casually. Therefore, he could only try his best to persuade it. "Enough, if you say any more nonsense, I'll just kill you for dessert." The spirit beast snorted coldly and turned around, ignoring Jing Tianqing. It waved its hand and signaled its subordinates to bring the five of them to the dungeon. Jing Tianqing was dumbfounded. He had been counting on this to turn the tables. If the spirit beast could agree to his proposal and let him kill Lin Yi with his own hands, it would be best. If not, it could also give Lin Yi a chance to torture him. However, the spirit beast did not take Jing Tianqing seriously at all. Now, it even wanted to imprison them in the same place. Was it not trying to force Jing Tianqing to his death? In front of Lin Yi, Languza, and the others, he said something that completely tore all pretense of cordiality. If Lin Yi and the others recovered their strength, they would definitely kill him immediately. "My lord." Jing Tianqing wanted to say more, but he was forced to swallow his words by the cold eyes of the surrounding spirit beasts. When he thought of the words, "If you say any more nonsense, I'll just kill you for dessert," he felt cold all over and did not dare to say another word. Languza grinned and laughed heartily. His face was full of schadenfreude as he looked at Jing Tianqing with a playful gaze. The spirit binding rope could be removed at any time. Even if it could not be removed, as long as they were locked together, Languza could easily toy with Jing Tianqing to death. In terms of the toughness of the physical body, as a mutated sea serpent, Languza was definitely invincible among those of the same rank. Jing Tianqing's small physique as an alchemist was much weaker than Languza's. Even if both of their hands were tied up, Languza could still use his head to hammer the two of them to death. Jing Dongjue's heart was pounding, and his eyelids were twitching. Nothing good would come out of being hated by Languza. Seeing that Zheng Tianqing was stunned for a moment, he could only wipe his old face and smile fawningly as he moved closer to Lin Yi and Li Zhaoyi, nodding and bowing. Lin Yi, Master Li Zhaoyi, don't take it to heart. Tianqing is young and ignorant. I'm here to apologize to you. Now that we are all in the same boat, we should help each other and overcome difficulties together. Don't argue with him. Zheng Dongjue's posture was extremely humble, and he only hoped to make up for Zheng Tianqing's mistake. If it were not for the masters of the Spirit Beast clan, Zheng Dongjue even wanted to say that Zheng Tianqing endured the humiliation and wanted to go undercover to rescue everyone. Regardless of whether Lin Yi and the others believed it or not, he had to believe it first. Yes, I had no choice but to say that. Don't take it to heart. We must be united. One man is short, two men are long. We are in the same boat. We are in the same boat. Zheng Tianqing also came to his senses. He hurriedly put on a smiling face and said a few words. When it comes to shamelessness, I, Languza, admire you. Languza laughed twice and laughed at Zheng Tianqing fiercely. If it were not for the masters of the Spirit Beast clan, he would have gone up to beat this shameless bastard. The 5 people were sent to the dungeon, but the spirit binding rope was not loosened. The father and son of the Zheng family were afraid of being maliciously retaliated by Languza, so they all hid on the side and did not dare to approach Lin Yi and the others. Lin Yi was too lazy to pay attention to these 2 guys. He said to the guard leader who escorted them in, I am Lin Yi, a friend of your Spirit Beast clan's elder Azure Dragon. There is some misunderstanding in this matter. Please help to inform Elder Azure Dragon. The guard leader sneered and glanced disdainfully at Lin Yi and the others. He shook his head proudly. Who do you think you are? How dare you say that you are friends of Elder Azure Dragon? How could he possibly have friends like you? What a joke. Stay here and don't make trouble for me, or you will suffer. Whether it is true or not, won't you know if you ask Elder Azure Dragon? You can't lie about this kind of thing. Think about it. If what I said is true, wouldn't it be a big mistake for you to stop me from seeing Elder Azure Dragon? Lin Yi said patiently. He could feel that in this valley station, there were at least dozens of spirit beasts above the profound ascending stage. There were also many mountain splitters and earth splitters. It would be a little difficult to escape with Li Zhaoyi and Languza. Because of this, Lin Yi wanted to ask Elder Azure Dragon for help. With his help, they might be able to escape from danger this time. Don't talk nonsense with me. Not to mention that Elder Azure Dragon is not here. Even if he is not someone you can see as you please. I don't care if you are 01 or 03, hurry up and hand over the things in the ruins, or you will all die. The guard leader said impatiently. He had no patience to inform Elder Azure Dragon or verify Lin Yi's identity. Lin Yi frowned slightly. He felt that something was wrong. Why was this guard leader so stubborn? He had already said it to this point, but he was still indifferent? Generally, when a low-level person heard that the other party was a friend of a high-ranking person, he would have to verify it no matter what, right? If the 2 people of the Zheng family were not here, Lin Yi would have tried to throw out the name of the center to see if there was any difference. Have you thought about it? It will save everyone trouble if you explain it clearly. Otherwise, you will be in trouble, and I will not be free. I will give you to the count of 5. If you don't hand over the things, I will kill 1 or 2 of you first. The guard leader smiled ferociously, and his eyes swept across Lin Yi and the others. The father and son of the Zheng family shivered, for fear that they would be innocently involved. They quickly leaned to the side and wanted to say that they were not with Lin Yi, but they were afraid that the situation would repeat itself. For a moment, their faces were red. Chapter 6207. 5 is the number of 5 and it's over? Then, do you just count to 10,000 and it's over? Languza couldn't help but complain. In his heart he said, Boss, hurry up and untie me. I want to beat this bastard who can't even count to death. You talk a lot. Do you want to die first? The guard leader stared at Languza and smiled coldly. Originally, he just wanted to scare Lin Yi and the others. But since someone jumped out, it didn't matter if he killed him directly. Anyway, it was fine as long as one of them knew the whereabouts of the relic. You can try. It's hard to say who will die first. Lin Yi's eyes instantly became cold. If the spirit beasts really dared to attack the people around him, he would not hesitate to do it even if it was a life-and-death struggle. Now there were not many masters of the spirit beasts nearby. As long as they could buy some time, there was a certain chance that they could escape from the valley. Of course, the risk factor was relatively high. Unless it was a last resort, Lin Yi didn't want to do this. The guard leader felt a chill all over his body for no reason. He had a dangerous feeling that he was being stared at by a fierce beast. In the spirit beasts on the South Island, the weak were prey to the strong. He trusted his intuition very much. But Lin Yi looked like a weak chicken who had not even reached the mountain opening stage. Why did he give him such a strong feeling of danger? It really didn't make sense. The guard leader himself had just broken through the early stage of the Earth opening stage. To be honest, he didn't like anyone in Lin Yi's group at all. But Lin Yi suddenly gave him an illusion that made his hair stand on end. It was really very strange. Boy, do you want to stand out and die in place of your companions? The guard leader said gloomily. Although Lin Yi gave him a feeling of danger, he was now in prison, and his body was tied with the spirit binding rope. His strength was also a whole realm lower than his. There was no reason for him to show weakness. Like I said, you can try. Lin Yi's lips curled into a cold smile, and his aura didn't back down at all. He had already observed that this guard leader did not seem to have any divine sense defense props on him. In other words, if he used the soul hook hand, he would most likely be able to deal with this guy easily. The premonition of danger in the guard's heart came from this. The spirit binding rope could restrict chi, but it could not restrict spiritual sense. He did not know that the power of Lin Yi's spiritual sense attack was perhaps even more terrifying than martial techniques. You think I don't dare to try? The guard leader grinned and raised his hand, as if he really wanted to attack Lin. However, the moment he took a step forward, the sense of danger in his heart increased by several times. In an instant he changed from advancing to retreating, pulling away from Lin. In fact, this distance was still within the effective range of Lin Yi's soul hook hand. However, the other party did not make a move, and Lin Yi did not want to make too much noise, so he temporarily stopped using it. Forget it, I still have things to do today. I don't have time to talk to you. Think about it carefully. If you don't tell the truth, even if I don't kill you, I will let you taste the taste of torture first. The guard leader snorted, put on a magnanimous look, withdrew his hand, and turned to leave. Only he and Lin Yi knew that if he insisted on attacking, it was really hard to say who would die first. Lin Yi frowned slightly and narrowed his eyes as he watched the guard leader leave. In his heart, he felt more and more strange. Just now, he was sure that the guy really wanted to kill him. The moment the other party raised his hand, the space in the jade pendant even gave a strong warning. The reason why he suddenly stopped was probably because he felt Lin Yi's killing intent. After hearing that Lin Yi was a friend of Elder Azure Dragon, not only did he not seek confirmation and report, but he also wanted to kill him secretly? It would be strange if there was no trick in this matter. At the same time, the guard leader who left the prison was also in a cold sweat. He was obviously a defenseless prisoner. Why did he feel that he could easily kill him? If it was someone else, he might not care too much. But this guard leader relied on caution along the way. He would never do anything he was not sure of. Anyway, Lin Yi was staying in the prison. If he wanted to do something, he could do it at any time. There was no need to be anxious. After a short while, the guard leader came alone to a quiet bamboo building in the valley. He respectfully knocked on the door. After waiting for him to enter, he carefully opened the bamboo door, slightly bowed and walked in. Have Lin Yi and the others been caught? There was a man wearing a black bamboo hat in the bamboo building. When he saw the guard leader come in, he asked in a flat tone. Yes, sir. Lin Yi and a total of 5 people have been caught. They are now in the prison. I will find an opportunity to kill them. The guard leader replied respectfully. He didn't know where this man in the black bamboo hat came from. He was an expert at the earth opening stage who could command the spirit beasts. He must not have a low status. Moreover, the man in the black bamboo hat should not be a member of the spirit beast clan. Otherwise, he could have directly ordered the killing of Lin Yi and the others. There was no need to go around in circles. Why not kill them directly? How long do you want to delay? The man in the black bamboo hat's tone was flat, without a trace of anger. But the guard leader lowered his head even more. Sir, that Lin Yi is a little strange. Although he is tied up by the spirit binding rope, he can give me a dangerous feeling. So I want to observe a little more before taking action. The guard leader was a little scared. He didn't know whether it was right or wrong to be so cautious. Forget it. You act according to the circumstances. The man in the black bamboo hat waved his hand and signaled the guard leader to leave. Sir, the guard leader didn't dare to neglect. He quickly bowed and slowly took 2 steps back. Then he turned around and carefully closed the bamboo door. At this time, in the prison, it was time for the guards to rotate. When a new spirit beast expert came in, Lin Yi was surprised to find that it was his acquaintance, the big fire lion. After the previous guard left, the big fire lion stepped forward and said to Lin Yi, "Benefactor, how did you get caught? This is a little troublesome." "I'm fine, don't worry. Big fire lion, I didn't expect to see you here. Why are you here instead of in Audiobook Cultivation City? Where's the big spider?" Lin Yi asked curiously. After not seeing it for a long time, the big fire lion had also broken through to the early stage of profound ascension. It seemed that the spirit beast's secret cultivation method was also very powerful. But here, the big fire lion at the early stage of profound ascension was only a low-level spirit beast. Chapter 6208. Jing Tianqing's eyes lit up. Although he heard it vaguely, since the great fire lion was an old acquaintance of Lin Yi, it was likely that he wanted to secretly release Lin Yi. It was too dangerous to stay here. It would be best if he could leave with Lin Yi. It was a shame that he'd offended Lin Yi and the others, and Jing Tianqing couldn't just go up and ask for trouble. All he could do was keep his ears open and listen. If there was a chance he'd escape with them, it'd be best if he could leak this information to the spirit beasts. Lin Yi was touched. The great fire lion was really loyal. He actually dared to release them. In fact, the great fire lion and the big spider had already repaid him in the cultivator's ruins in Ao Duo. It was not easy to get so much star ink milk. If it wasn't for that star ink milk, Lin Yi's strength would not have improved to its current level. He might have been killed somewhere. Don't act recklessly. We're not in any danger now. If you let us go, we'll really be in danger. Lin Yi waved his hand and hurriedly told the great fire lion to dispel the idea. The great fire lion was slightly startled. He then smiled and said, "Benefactor, you're right. But isn't it still dangerous to stay here? We spirit beasts don't have much goodwill towards humans. If there's a chance, it's better to take a gamble." "It's rare for you to be so frank, great fire lion. But you and the big spider have clansmen. If this matter is exposed, you may implicate them." Lin Yi smiled faintly. He naturally wouldn't let the great fire lion take the risk. If he really wanted to escape, there was no need for the great fire lion to do anything. Lin Yi could open the cell himself. The great fire lion pondered for a moment and then said in a low voice, "Since Benefactor says so, I'll wait for a better opportunity. You must leave this place." Big Flame Lion, if it's convenient, think of a way to send a message to the Azure Dragon Elder. Tell him that I'm being held here by you. We have some friendship before, so maybe he can help me. Lin Yi thought about it and decided to let the Big Flame Lion do this thing that wasn't too dangerous. If someone really wanted to deal with them secretly, they could take this opportunity to find the Azure Dragon Elder and perhaps resolve the problem. The only danger to the Great Fire Lion was that the other party would notice before he could report it to the Azure Dragon Elder. However, the other party did not know the relationship between Lin Yi and the Great Fire Lion, so this danger was almost negligible. As long as the Azure Dragon Elder came, who would care about a small character like the Great Fire Lion? Our benefactor is acquainted with Elder Azure Dragon? That's great. Just leave this matter to me, I will definitely handle it properly. As long as the Azure Dragon Elder speaks, I believe that our benefactor will definitely be able to resolve this crisis. The Great Fire Lion's face was full of joy, and he was truly happy for Lin Yi. Without further ado, the Great Fire Lion did not delay. After bidding farewell to Lin Yi and the others, he hurriedly left the prison to find a way to contact the Azure Dragon. As for his duty as a guard, he was eager for Lin Yi and the others to escape, so it didn't matter whether he stayed or not. After about an hour, the Great Fire Lion returned to the prison. After all, he was only a relatively low-level spirit beast. It was not easy to contact a high and mighty existence like the Azure Dragon. Benefactor, it's done. I looked for my friend's brother's second uncle's sister-in-law's son and found a way to deliver the message to Azure Dragon Elder. However, it's hard to say when he will receive it and when he will come here. I think it's better for our benefactor to find a chance to leave this place as soon as possible. The Great Fire Lion was also a little unconfident about his connections. In the end, he still advised Lin Yi to run away as soon as possible. Lin Yi couldn't help but smile. The Great Fire Lion was really desperate. His connections were so complicated that he couldn't figure out who helped him after listening to him. But it didn't matter as long as the Azure Dragon Elder could receive the news. The Great Fire Lion accompanied Lin Yi and chatted for a long time. Finally, when it was time to change shifts, he reluctantly said goodbye and left. Before Lin Yi left the prison, he didn't dare to be too intimate with him and attract the attention of other spirit beasts. If he was needed, he would have a chance to hide. Lin Yi originally thought that the guard leader would find an opportunity to continue to deal with them, but he didn't expect that there would be no movement for so long. The new guard was a strange spirit beast that he had never seen before. While he remained vigilant, he also had some doubts. The most uncomfortable one was Jing Tianqing. Lin Yi and the other two ignored him. Zheng Dongjue was also in a daze, and no one knew what he was thinking. He wanted to tell the Great Fire Lion, but he was afraid of making a fool of himself. He couldn't make up his mind. While being overcautious, a day passed. At noon the next day, the guard leader finally appeared in front of Lin Yi and the others again. This time, he was accompanied by 3 experts at the peak of the late and peak of the mountain opening stage. In addition, he had the strength of the early stage of the earth opening stage. He felt that even if Lin Yi was strange, it was absolutely impossible for him to rebel. Brat, have you thought it through? Hurry up and hand over the treasures of the ruins, and we can leave your corpse intact. Otherwise, we can directly drag you out and chop you up to make some appetizers. The guard leader looked at Lin Yi and said with a sinister smile. If he wanted to deal with Lin Yi, he must find a dignified excuse, otherwise, there would be trouble in the future. Therefore, the guard leader deliberately said a few more words. You talk a lot of nonsense. If you want to fight, just do it. Yesterday, you didn't have the guts. Today, you brought 3 helpers. Don't tell me you don't have the guts? Lin Yi smiled faintly, with an obvious sarcasm at the corner of his mouth. The guard leader was slightly stunned, and his face showed a somewhat angry expression. However, he was secretly happy in his heart. He was worried that he had no excuse to deal with Lin Yi. Now, he could push the boat with the current. You are courting death. You go and drag him out. First, torture him. I want to see how hard this brat's bones are. The guard leader roared and waved his hand to signal the 2 spirit beasts at the peak of the late stage of the mountain opening stage behind him to capture Lin. The 2 experts agreed. Then, they signaled the guards to open the prison door and walked in with a sinister smile. In their opinion, this was an action to have fun. At the same time, they could sell the guard leader a favor. There was no difficulty at all. Languza took a step forward and blocked in front of Lin Yi. He glared angrily and shouted, "Who dares to touch my boss? See if I don't smash you into minced meat, dip some sauce in it, and feed it to the dogs." Another one is asking for a beating. Let's just get him out and teach him a lesson. One of the 2 spirit beasts that entered the prison turned around and smiled at the guard leader. Anyway, 1 was beaten and 2 were killed. There was not much difference. Chapter 6209. However, the other spirit beast's eyes lit up. He hadn't noticed Li Xiaoyi before, but after getting closer, he realized that this human girl was extremely beautiful. After spirit beasts transformed, their sense of beauty became closer to that of humans. Therefore, beauties were still beauties in their eyes. A beauty of Li Xiaoyi's level was even more outstanding. Hey, this chick isn't bad. I've taken a liking to her. You guys deal with these 2 reckless fools. Let me use my big stick to teach this chick a lesson. Maybe she won't be able to take it and confess first. The spirit beast expert revealed an undisguised lecherous smile as he reached out to grab Li Zhaoyi's wrist. Lin Yi's expression turned cold, and his killing intent soared. He wanted to make a move on Li Zhaoyi and Languza. These two guys at the peak of the later stage of the mountain opening stage were really looking for death. Sensing Lin Yi's change, Languza also prepared to make a move. As long as boss removed the spirit binding chains, he would be able to kill these two fools immediately. Even though Languza's current strength was still at the peak of the early stage of the mountain opening stage, he had fought with the golden-haired ape countless times in the illusion realm. His combat power was no longer the same as before. Even though the probability of him being completely defeated in 100 battles was at least 99%, he could still occasionally beat the golden-haired ape once or twice. With this kind of strength, killing a spirit beast at the peak of the late stage of the mountain opening stage was definitely not a problem. The guard leader squinted his eyes. He felt a dangerous aura from Lin Yi again. Even though he wasn't the target this time, the feeling of danger wasn't any weaker than the last time. It really wasn't a coincidence. It was the right decision to bring the three of them here. As long as this brat uses his trump card once, I'll know how to deal with him. Just wait and see how I'll deal with him then. The guard leader laughed coldly in his heart. As for whether the two companions he brought with him were dead or alive, he didn't care at all. They were meant to be used as cannon fodder. As long as they could probe Lin Yi's trump card, their deaths would be worth it. In actual fact, the three mountain opening stage spirit beast powerhouses that followed this time did not have any subordinate relationship with the chief guard. They merely had some friendly relations, and everyone helped each other in some trivial matters, which could be considered as forming a good karma. For example, to the three mountain opening stage spirit beasts, dealing with Lin Yi and the rest this time was a good thing that was beneficial but not costly. However, they were not idiots after all. To be able to reach the mountain opening stage, which one of them had not experienced countless life and death tribulations. The killing intent on Lin Yi's body was so condensed that it was almost tangible. If the two who bore the brunt of it couldn't feel it, then they really deserved to die. Damn it. Seems like I've been F***ed. How is this the killing intent that a profound ascension great circle human should have? The two fellows who entered the cage complained in their hearts at the same time. They wanted to retreat, but they didn't dare to act rashly. They were afraid that they would become the target of Lin Yi. Lin Yi squinted at these two fellows. Originally, he had already made up his mind to use the soul reaping hand to get rid of the idiot who had already had a crooked memory. However, his divine sense suddenly discovered the appearance of the green dragon, so he forcefully endured it. In view of the powerful divine sense of the previous green dragon, when Lin Yi discovered the appearance of the new green dragon, he immediately withdrew his divine sense to avoid exposing any flaws. The accumulated killing intent also disappeared without a trace as if it had never appeared. The two spirit beast experts, who were on high alert, were dumbfounded. For a moment, they did not know if they should make a move or stay put. I didn't expect the green dragon to come so quickly. It seems that he is also near the Zhenduan Sea, so he rushed over after receiving the news. Don't act rashly, restrain your divine sense, and don't let the green dragon see any clues. Lin Yi cautiously warned Languza and Li Zhaoyi. The strength of their divine sense was far beyond the standard of the same rank on the Heaven Stage Island. Ordinary Earth opening stage cultivators might not be able to see through it. But the new green dragon was different. This was a real super powerhouse of the sea-splitting stage. The strength of his divine sense was not comparable to that of ordinary Earth opening stage cultivators. If he was in the same vein as the ghost in this aspect, then he would be several times stronger than Lin Yi. Languza and Li Zhaoyi nodded slightly to show that they understood. Before they could react again, the green dragon appeared in the prison like a ghost. At the same time, a man in a black bamboo hat also came to the prison behind the green dragon. Lin Yi looked at the man with some fear, and secretly guessed the identity of the man in the black bamboo hat. His divine sense had not found this person before, but he suddenly appeared at this time. If his strength was not too strong, then the only possibility that could hide from the detection of Lin Yi's divine sense was that he had some tool in his hand. Lin Yi couldn't see through the strength of the man in the black bamboo hat, so he was not sure how powerful this guy was for the time being. And the unknown divine sense tool made him even more afraid to act rashly. Subordinate greets the elder. When the masters of the Spirit Beast clan saw the green dragon appear, they all bowed with their fists and saluted respectfully. The green dragon first nodded slightly to the man in the black bamboo hat, then casually waved his hand to signal the masters of the Spirit Beast clan to retreat to the side. Master Lin, I didn't expect that we would meet again so soon. I'm really sorry. My subordinates didn't know their place. Please forgive them if they offended you. The green dragon said with a smile, but he didn't look apologetic at all. This kind of attitude was a bit worth pondering. Elder Azure Dragon must be joking, it's just a misunderstanding. I didn't expect that it would really alarm the elder. I'm very frightened. Lin Yi smiled faintly and spoke in the same tone, but his eyes fell on the man in the black bamboo hat. What the hell is going on? Who can tell me, why did you imprison Master Lin and the others? The green dragon nodded to Lin Yi, then his face turned serious and swept a cold glance over the Spirit Beast Masters. The aura of the Master of the Sea-splitting stage instantly enveloped the whole place. Even if it was not specifically aimed at Lin Yi and the others, they still felt extremely cold, as if they had fallen into an ice cave. A super powerhouse of this level was really not something they could contend with. Lin Yi remembered the time when he used the ancient warship to help Li Lin fight against the sea beast of the sea-splitting stage in the extreme North Island. It was really risky. As long as there was the slightest mistake, it was enough to kill him. The guard leader shuddered and subconsciously stole a glance at the black bamboo hat. He didn't know how he should answer the Azure Dragon Elder's question. Although the identity of the man in the black bamboo hat was noble, he was still an outsider after all. The Green Dragon Elder was the top real power figure of the Spirit Beast clan. Chapter 62:10. After thinking for a while, Azure Dragon asked the man with the bamboo hat, "What's going on? Didn't you say not to offend Lin Yi and not to touch him? Did you change your mind?" At Azure Dragon's level, his ability to transmit sound was many times stronger than Lin Yi's. It was impossible to eavesdrop halfway. Even Lin Yi did not notice that he was communicating with the man with the bamboo hat. The man with the bamboo hat did not answer Azure Dragon's question. He suddenly raised his hand and slapped down. The guard leader, who was standing on the side with his head bowed, was directly smashed by the man with the bamboo hat. "Elder Azure Dragon, I also came here after receiving the news. I heard that this prison guard acted on his own. You won't blame me for being too ruthless, right?" The man with the bamboo hat leisurely retracted his hand and said to Azure Dragon with a smile. Lin Yi's pupils shrank slightly. The man with the bamboo hat was really powerful, far beyond his imagination. The guard leader was a master at the early stage of the Earth-opening realm. Although he was unprepared, he was easily killed by a palm. Not everyone could do this. Previously, when Lin Yi wanted to use the soul-reaping hand to deal with the guard leader, he was immediately alerted. This time, when the man with the bamboo hat attacked, the guard leader did not even have time to react. From this, it could be inferred that the man with the bamboo hat was far more powerful than the guard leader. Azure Dragon smiled faintly and looked at the man with the bamboo hat meaningfully. If he wanted to stop the man with the bamboo hat from killing him, he could naturally succeed. However, Azure Dragon did not even move his finger and let the guard leader be killed. How could that be? We are strategic partners. He is just a disobedient minion. Killing him is nothing. Azure Dragon waved his hand indifferently. He had roughly understood what was going on. It was not convenient for the man with the bamboo hat to attack Lin Yi, so he wanted to use the hands of the spirit beasts to get rid of Lin. It was a simple method of killing with a borrowed knife. It was not too complicated. The only thing that Azure Dragon was wary of was the power behind Lin Yi. Since the black bamboo hat was unwilling to take the initiative to deal with Lin Yi, it was best for the spirit beasts not to offend the person behind Lin Yi. The man in the bamboo hat laughed heartily. Elder Azure Dragon is indeed generous. It's all thanks to you that our organization was able to cooperate with the Spirit Beast clan. That's all for today's matter. Farewell. After that, the man in the black bamboo hat cupped his fists slightly, turned around and left. A cold glint flashed across Lin Yi's eyes. Although the man with the bamboo hat didn't say which organization he was from, Lin Yi was certain that it was the Central Organization. The Central Organization wanted to use the Spirit Beast clan to kill him. Once they failed, they immediately killed him to silence him. It seemed that there was a grudge between the two parties. If he made good use of it, he might be able to split the alliance between the two. If he could do that, it would definitely be a great thing. In addition to Lin Yi, Zheng Tianqing's eyes also lit up. Obviously, he also guessed that the man in the black bamboo hat was from the Central Organization. After being in the South Continent for so long, did he finally find the organization? Zheng Tianqing wanted to ask, but he was afraid that he would ruin the matter of the man in the black bamboo hat. After hesitating for a while, the man in the black bamboo hat had already disappeared without a trace, so he didn't have a chance to ask even if he wanted to. Elder Azure Dragon, I've really troubled you this time. I even made you specially come to Lufeng Forest. Thank you very much. Lin Yi was thinking about how to destroy the cooperation between the Spirit Beast clan and the Central Organization while he thanked Azure Dragon. Azure Dragon turned to look at Lin Yi. He narrowed his eyes and said gloomily, Master Lin is a rare alchemy grandmaster. In addition, there's also Master Li Zhao, so it's worth it for me to come here personally. It's rare for both grandmasters to come to the territory of the Spirit Beast clan. Have a good rest here for a while. It just so happens that the Spirit Beast clan is lacking alchemy masters, so I hope the two of you can help us. Lin Yi was slightly startled. He thought that this newly appointed Azure Dragon was really a weasel paying respects to a chicken. He didn't have any good intentions. However, when he thought about it, the Valley of Lufeng Forest was one of the more secretive bases of the Spirit Beast clan. It was completely different from Weiwan City. Azure Dragon could let Lin Yi and the others go in Weiwan City, but it didn't mean that he would continue to let them go in this valley. It's fine, it's just alchemy. Since Elder Azure Dragon has come to help us without sparing no effort, we won't refuse such a small matter. We're all friends, so everything can be discussed. It just so happens that we need to have a good rest, so it's suitable for us to stay here. Lin Yi smiled faintly, pretending that he didn't understand the meaning behind Azure Dragon's words. He brushed him off. What are you waiting for? Hurry up and release Master Lin and the others. Azure Dragon was satisfied with Lin Yi's tactfulness. He turned his head and indifferently scolded the few Spirit Beast Masters. After the leader of the guards was killed by the man in the bamboo hat, these guys all kept quiet out of fear, not daring to move at all. With the roar of the green dragon, they immediately came to life, rushing into the cage one by one, fighting to untie the spirit shackles for Lin Yi and the others. The Spirit Beast Master, who originally had some crooked ideas about Li Zhaoyi, didn't dare to approach Li Zhaoyi at all. He hid far away for fear of being found out. In this way, the Zheng family's father and son were taken as Lin Yi's companions. Not only did they untie the spirit shackles, but they also received a flattering smile from the Spirit Beast Master. Zheng Tianqing didn't have any thoughts of expressing gratitude to Lin Yi. He just wanted to leave this place as soon as possible and then find the man in the black bamboo hat. If he could successfully establish a connection, maybe it wouldn't be impossible to get rid of Lin Yi here. Lin Yi indifferently glanced at the two people from the Zheng family. He didn't say that they weren't his companions. Anyway, they were two insignificant people. If he let them go, then he would just give face to the pill hall. Arrange a place for Master Lin and the others to rest. I still have things to do, so I won't accompany you. Remember, you have to take good care of Master Lin and the others, and at the same time, ensure their safety. Never allow Master Lin and the others to leave the sight of the guards, understand? Azure Dragon waited for Lin Yi and the others to be untied before continuing to instruct the few Spirit Beast Masters. The few Spirit Beast Masters were a little stunned. Listening to these words, it seemed that he wanted them to monitor Lin Yi and the others. What was Elder Azure Dragon trying to do? He personally came to release Lin Yi and the others just to let them live in a more comfortable cell? This subordinate understands. I will definitely do it properly. I will definitely not disappoint Elder. Regardless of whether they understood it or not, these few Spirit Beast Masters had to show a completely understanding attitude. Facing Azure Dragon, They could only obey. Chapter 62:11. Besides, Lin Yi was thinking about how to destroy the cooperation between the spirit beasts and the center. It just so happened that the man in the black bamboo hat was also in the valley. Whether he succeeded or not, he should give it a try first. Unfortunately, the man in the black bamboo hat had a divine sense shielding tool on him. After leaving his line of sight, Lin Yi completely lost track of him. He would have to look for him later. Azure Dragon ignored the loyalty of the spirit beasts and turned to Lin. "I'll take my leave first. I'll look for Master Lin when I'm free." "Elder Azure Dragon, please do as you please. Just tell me what pills you need. As long as I have the pill recipes and spiritual medicine, I'll do my best." Lin Yi casually cupped his fists. He suddenly remembered that the spirit beasts had a very low demand for pills. Could it be that Azure Dragon was looking for him and Li Xiaoyi to refine pills because of the pill recipes of the spirit beast's inner cores in the ruins? With Azure Dragon's identity, he naturally knew why Lin Yi and the others were brought to the valley. Therefore, it was possible that he was testing Lin Yi. No, this was not even a test. If Azure Dragon really wanted Lin Yi to refine pills with the spirit beast's inner cores as the main ingredient, it was certain that the inheritance of the ruins was in their hands. After understanding this, Lin Yi suddenly had a headache. The black bamboo hat was already very scary. If they were targeted by Azure Dragon, they would really lose all hope of escaping. However, this was not completely without benefits. If he could use the pill recipes used by the spirit beasts as a bargaining chip, he could make the spirit beasts give up on the center and cooperate with Lin. This was a good deal. While Lin Yi was thinking, Azure Dragon had already turned around and left. He used to be polite to Lin Yi, but now he only maintained the most superficial face. Perhaps he felt that Lin Yi had fallen into the hands of the spirit beasts and was in a situation where he could not escape. In the future, he would most likely be reduced to a pill refining machine for the spirit beasts. "Master Lin, this way please. Our brothers will arrange a comfortable residence for you." After the Azure Dragon disappeared, the spirit beast experts were greatly relieved. One of them bowed to Lin Yi politely and led the way. Because Azure Dragon's attitude towards Lin Yi was not very clear, these spiritual beast experts did not dare to be negligent. They would rather be polite than continue to offend Lin Yi. What if Elder Azure Dragon really valued Lin Yi and turned around to deal with them? Lin Yi nodded to Zhao Yi and Lenguza, then followed the spirit beast experts out of the prison. Zheng Tianqing really wanted to find the man in the black bamboo hat immediately, but in the spirit beast clan's territory he really didn't dare to walk around casually, so he could only follow Lin Yi from afar and wait for them to settle down. The group did not go far, and stopped in a relatively remote place in the valley. The spirit beast clan's prison was set in a remote place, so how good could a place not far from the prison be? "Master Lin, this small courtyard was specially built according to the customs of the human clan. It is really suitable to entertain you. Are you satisfied with it?" The spirit beast who led the way asked with a smile on his face, and his attitude was very good. Lin Yi's divine sense had actually seen this small courtyard long ago, but he didn't pay much attention to it before. He didn't expect that it would become their residence here. It was said to be a small courtyard, but in fact, it was the kind of simple hut in the countryside. There were 8 rooms, and the outside was surrounded by a circle of fences. The style was relatively rough, and there was no elegant charm at all. However, these straw huts were blessed with simple formations, so there was no need to worry about their sturdiness. An ordinary gold core stage cultivator might not be able to break the straw hut with a full blow, so Lin Yi was barely satisfied. "It's okay, here it is." Lin Yi waved his hand casually, as if he had the right to choose. "It's good as long as Master Lin is satisfied. Then you can go in and rest." The spirit beast master secretly breathed a sigh of relief. If Lin Yi was dissatisfied, he really didn't know if he should change Lin Yi's place. "Hey, can we walk around? We don't have to stay here all the time, right?" Lenguza curled his lips. He didn't care where he lived, but it was too uncomfortable to stay in the room all the time. Azure Dragon didn't explicitly say that he wanted to put Lin Yi and the others under house arrest. He just wanted to fight for it. It would be good to walk around nearby. What if he could find a few like-minded spirit beast masters to fight with? Zheng Tianqing, who was following behind, suddenly pricked up his ears. He was worried about how to find the man with the black bamboo hat. If he was confined to these straw huts, he might not be able to see the man with the black bamboo hat again until he died. The spirit beast masters looked at each other and were a little hesitant. They really didn't know how to answer Languza's question. The leader's meaning was too vague, and it was really difficult to understand it by themselves. It's okay to walk around nearby, but this valley is an important base of our spirit beast clan. Many places are prohibited from approaching, and these restrictions include us. Therefore, in order to prevent you from accidentally entering the forbidden area and causing unnecessary disputes, if you want to move around nearby, you must be accompanied by us. The spirit beast master who led the way hesitated for a moment, then carefully proposed a method that seemed to satisfy both sides. No matter what the Green Dragon Elder's true thoughts were, there shouldn't be anything wrong with this. This fellow was also very satisfied with his proposal. Zheng Tianqing was secretly happy. This degree of freedom was much better than being locked in the straw hut. In any case, there was finally a hope of finding the man with the black bamboo hat. If I don't want you to follow me, what will you do? Want to fight with me? Languza laughed strangely. He felt that he was really smart. He actually found an excuse to fight. If he fought with the Spirit Beast clan for no reason, it would definitely bring trouble to his boss. However, if the Spirit Beast clan attacked first, it would be a completely different story. Of course not. You are Elder Azure Dragon's distinguished guests. How can we fight with you? If you don't want us to follow you, we can only restrict you from leaving the straw hut to avoid unnecessary misunderstandings. The spirit beast who led the way squinted his eyes and smiled happily. This way they would be much less worried. Languza was suddenly speechless. He could only roll his eyes, snorted, and took the lead to enter the straw hut. Chapter 62:12. Zheng Dongjue didn't refute. He lowered his head and went to the straw hut at the edge with Zheng Tianqing. His heart had long been obliterated. He knew that their lives were in the hands of Lin Yi, so he naturally didn't dare to object. Lin Yi didn't even look at the two of them. He treated them as air and let them react however they wanted. The leading spirit beast was relieved when he saw them enter. He called the spirit beast experts to get into position. At the same time, he sent someone to gather his subordinates to prepare to deal with them when they went out to wander. To the surprise of these spirit beasts, it wasn't Languza who first proposed to walk around, but Zheng Tianqing who hadn't spoken much. When Lin Yi and the others entered the straw hut, Zheng Tianqing immediately trotted out with a smile and asked to go out and take a look. Lords, I want to familiarize myself with the surroundings. I wonder if it's convenient? Zheng Tianqing bowed and asked humbly. If it wasn't for the fact that he had nothing to offer, he would definitely bribe them without a trace. Unfortunately, he was short of money, so he could only rely on the thickness of his face to win. The spirit beast who led the way just now was the peak of the mountain opening realm brought by the guard leader. He was the strongest among the spirit beasts present. When he saw that Zheng Tianqing was only at the nascent soul stage, he had some contempt in his heart. Thinking about it, Azure Dragon Elder seemed to care about Lin Yi and Li Zhaoyi. As for a small character like Zheng Tianqing, it didn't matter. Go, just don't wander around. Lang Qi, take him for a walk. Be careful. The spirit beast waved his hand casually and pointed at a profound ascension middle stage spirit beast to follow Zheng Tianqing. As the strongest one present, he was indeed qualified to be the commander. The spirit beast called Lang Qi was originally a guard that came over on shift. When he saw the Azure Dragon Elder arrive, he could only listen to his orders and follow him all the way. Now that he was called out, he looked at Zheng Tianqing with some disdain and nodded helplessly in agreement. Zheng Tianqing hurriedly went over to greet him. Not to mention that Lang Qi's strength was much stronger than his, just the area he could walk in was completely controlled by Lang Qi, so he had to properly flatter Lang Qi. Lang Qi really did not have much interest in a weakling like Zheng Tianqing. He gave a perfunctory reply and walked to the side listlessly. It had to be said that Zheng Tianqing did have some brains. After observing Lang Qi's expression, he quickly grasped Lang Qi's character. Under his flattery, Lang Qi was actually coaxed into becoming a little happy. Zheng boy, tell me, what's your relationship with that Master Lin? How come you two don't seem to be very close? Lang Qi's eyes were still filled with disdain toward Zheng Tianqing, but at least he was willing to chat with him for a bit. Zheng Tianqing maintained a fawning smile and said, Master Lang Qi, actually, that Lin Yi and I really don't have much of a relationship. This brat is arrogant and likes to cheat people. If we really want to talk about a relationship, then he has cheated our family many times. If not for the Azure Dragon Elder protecting him, I would have killed him long ago. Lang Qi glanced sideways at Zheng Tianqing. He thought to himself that he had seen shameless people, but he had never seen such a shameless one. With his appearance, he actually dared to boast that he could kill Lin. I heard that the guard leader who was killed by the man in the black bamboo hat didn't dare to make the slightest movement in front of Lin. That was a master in the early stage of earth opening. Zheng Tianqing was just a cultivator in the nascent soul stage. What was he? If you have nothing to do with that Master Lin, then what's the point of keeping you alive? I think sooner or later he will eat you like a snack. Lang Qi glanced sideways at Zheng Tianqing and laughed evilly. Zheng Tianqing was suddenly shocked. His strength was really too low. The nascent soul stage could be regarded as an ordinary master in the Middle Island, but in front of the Spirit Beast clan in the South Continent, he was not even an ant. If there was really a Spirit Beast that wanted to kill him, he didn't even have the ability to resist. Thinking of this, Zheng Tianqing couldn't help but regret saying that he had nothing to do with Lin. Haha, little brat from the Zheng family, are you scared? You are really a coward. A coward like you has sour meat. Our Spirit Beast clan doesn't like to eat people like you. Lang Qi laughed loudly and didn't forget to continue to ridicule Zheng Tianqing. Zheng Tianqing was ashamed and annoyed in his heart. His face was also a little red, but he still smiled for fear of offending Lang Qi. Remembering that he came out to find the man in the black bamboo hat, Zheng Tianqing took the opportunity to mention, Lord Lang Qi, although I have nothing to do with that kid Lin Yi, I have some relationship with the Lord wearing the black bamboo hat just now. Let me tell you, I am actually a member of the Central Chamber of Commerce. Looking at the appearance of the Lord wearing the black bamboo hat, he seems to be a high-level figure in our Central Chamber of Commerce. I wanted to ask before, but the difference in status was too big, so I didn't dare to be rash. You are related to that lord? Lang Qi was slightly startled, and the contempt on his face immediately disappeared. The guard leader was killed by the man in the black bamboo hat. If he, a small guard, offended him, he probably wouldn't even know how he died. Zheng Tianqing was happy in his heart. Lang Qi's question almost confirmed the identity of the man in the black bamboo hat. As expected, he was related to the Central Chamber of Commerce. Looks like this step was really right. Lord Lang Qi, I wonder if it's convenient for you to bring me to visit that lord? As long as I can confirm that I am from the same organization as that lord, I will definitely reward you handsomely. Zheng Tianqing went around for so long, but he couldn't find the location of the man in the black bamboo hat at all. He could only hope that Lang Qi could bring him over. Lang Qi suddenly hesitated. He didn't care about the reward, but the man in the black bamboo hat was someone that even the Azure Dragon Elder had to be polite to. If he could build a relationship with this man, it would definitely be a good thing for him. Don't look at how the rules of the Spirit Beast clan seem to be very strict, such as forbidding private fights within the clan. In fact, they were all set up for low-level Spirit Beasts. For a high level like the Azure Dragon Elder, if he was in a bad mood and killed a few low-level Spirit Beasts, no one would say anything. After all, the Spirit Beast clan still followed the rule of the weak being prey to the strong. In such an environment, Lang Qi felt that if he helped Zheng Tianqing in passing, he might get a return that exceeded his expectations in the future. The only thing he needed to worry about was, what would the Azure Dragon Elder think if he did this? Chapter 62:13. Without Lin Yi, this nemesis, Zheng Tianqing felt that his thinking and brain were much clearer and faster. After seeing Lang Qi's excitement and hesitation, Zheng Tianqing immediately added fuel to the fire. Lang Qi's eyes brightened. The most important thing to him was to build a relationship with the black bamboo hat. Zheng Tianqing could say it so straightforwardly, which made him very satisfied. Especially the sentence, "just walk around, anywhere is possible," made him think that there was no responsibility at all. As Zheng Tianqing said, the place where the black bamboo hat lived was not in any forbidden area. When Elder Azure Dragon and the others explained, no one mentioned the range of activities of Lin Yi and the others, so there was no problem for Zheng Tianqing to stroll over. Then it's settled. You come with me. Lang Qi thought for a moment and immediately took Zheng Tianqing in another direction. Only when they were about to reach the destination did he signal Zheng Tianqing to pay attention. I have never been near here, but I know that the Lord lives in the bamboo building over there. If you want to see him, I'm afraid you have to go through some dangerous tests. Zheng family boy, are you sure you want to go over? Lang Qi was eager for Zheng Tianqing to hurry over, but he still pretended to persuade him. I want to go over. Lord Lang Qi, you wait here for my good news. Zheng Tianqing was full of confidence and said loudly with pride. Then he stepped toward the front door of the small building. It was not easy to come here, so he must see the black bamboo hat man. Zheng Tianqing shook his spirit and took a step toward the bamboo building. Unexpectedly, two invisible true energy appeared out of thin air, directly leaving two dark deep pits in front of his 2 feet. This attitude was very obvious. If he dared to take a step forward, it would not be the ground that was pierced, but Zheng Tianqing's body. Rather than saying it was a dangerous test, it was more appropriate to say that it was a warning. Zheng Tianqing's back was covered in cold sweat. He just took a step forward and only his toes touched the ground. He didn't even have time to put down his heels. Seeing the bottomless pit, he didn't dare to move at all. He could only tense his whole body and freeze there. Lord, I'm Zheng Tianqing from the medicine sect of Middle Island, and I have a cooperative relationship with Manager Kong Ming of Middle Island. Today, I'm here to visit you, and I hope that you can take time out of your busy schedule to meet me. Zheng Tianqing stood on his tiptoes and bowed in a very awkward posture. Because he didn't know if the man with the bamboo hat was a member of the center, or if he cared about the exposure of the center's name, he could only vaguely mention his identity and origin. Although Kong Ming's strength was also very ordinary, he was the shopkeeper of the Chamber of Commerce in Central Island. Zheng Tianqing felt that if he said Kong Ming's name, the man in the black bamboo hat inside should have heard of him. After he finished speaking, Zheng Tianqing didn't dare to raise his head. He remained in that awkward posture, waiting for the bamboo building to give an instruction on whether or not to receive him. Behind him, Lang Qi quietly retreated 7 or 8 feet. He didn't want to be involved. Just like Zheng Tianqing was an ant in his eyes, he was probably no different from an ant in the eyes of the man in the black bamboo hat in the bamboo building. If it wasn't for his duty to monitor Zheng Tianqing, Lang Qi would have turned around and left at this moment. What befriending the man in the black bamboo hat, building a relationship with him, hugging his leg, and so on. First, he had to be able to save his life. After a short while, a lazy voice came from the bamboo building. Zheng Tianqing, come in and talk. Thank you, Lord. Zheng Tianqing was overjoyed. He could finally land on his tiptoes, and the cold sweat on his forehead could also be carefully wiped. Tianqing, talk to that lord properly. Don't offend him. Lang Qi's eyes flashed with a trace of envy, and he hurriedly exhorted. At the same time, he also hinted to Zheng Tianqing that he shouldn't forget what he had promised him. Zheng Tianqing understood. He turned around and nodded slightly to Lang Qi with a smile. Lord Lang Qi, please rest assured. I know what I'm doing. If he could successfully establish a relationship with the man in the black bamboo hat, Zheng Tianqing would no longer care about this little spirit beast guard. However, the current situation was unclear, so he still had to feign civility. That's good. I wish you all the best. Lang Qi revealed a satisfied smile and very gently waved his hand at Zheng Tianqing. He didn't have that condescending and contemptuous feeling from before. Zheng Tianqing didn't waste any more words. He quickly walked to the front of the bamboo building and respectfully bowed. Lord, this lowly one will come in. There was a faint end sound from inside. Zheng Tianqing felt as if he had heard the voice of an immortal. He quickly put on a smile, pushed open the bamboo door, and walked in with small steps. This lowly one, Zheng Tianqing, greets Lord. Zheng Tianqing didn't dare to raise his head. He glanced at the two toes in front of him from the corner of his eyes, and quickly bowed even deeper. He took the opportunity to kneel on one knee and respectfully greeted. "Get up. You asked to see me. What do you want to say?" The man in the black bamboo hat's tone was calm, which made Jing Tianqing secretly nervous. "I don't know if this big boss has heard of me, Jing Tianqing? Or is it just because of Kang Ming Ming?" "Thank you, Lord." Jing Tianqing respectfully thanked him and quickly thought in his heart. He quickly stood up and raised his head slightly. He was surprised to find that there was more than one person in the room. In addition to the man in the black bamboo hat he saw before, there was also a man in the red bamboo hat sitting on the other side. However, there was no fluctuation of breath on his body. If he didn't see it with his own eyes, Jing Tianqing would have thought that there was nothing but air there. Jing Tianqing greets Lord. To be able to sit on the same level as the man in the black bamboo hat and dress so similarly, he must be a senior member of the organization. Jing Tianqing didn't dare to neglect and quickly bowed to greet him. The man in the red bamboo hat faintly nodded, but his body didn't move at all. "Junior brother Pao, you should have heard of this Jing Tianqing, right? In the operation of the extreme North Island, he was the only one who was relatively outstanding. The higher-ups have mentioned that he can be trained well." It was unknown what the man in the black bamboo hat was thinking, but he deliberately mentioned this to junior brother Pao in the red bamboo hat. In Jing Tianqing's ears, this simple sentence was no less than 1,000 compliments, and it immediately made him burst with joy. "Lord, you flatter me. It's all because of the organization's good leadership. I just followed the instructions. If there is anything that you need me to do, please let me know." Jing Tianqing smiled flatteringly, cupped his fists and bowed to show his loyalty. Junior brother Pao snorted noncommittally and waved his hand to indicate that the man in the black bamboo hat didn't need to care about him. Chapter 62:14. Originally, the man in the black bamboo hat wanted to use the hands of the spirit beasts to get rid of Lin. In that way, the people behind Lin Yi could only retaliate against the spirit beasts, but would not be able to vent their anger on the center, and the balance would not be broken. Unfortunately, the plan failed. Azure Dragon also roughly saw through his purpose and would treat Lin Yi more cautiously, so the man in the black bamboo hat could only think of another way. Even if he could not kill Lin Yi, it would be good to make good use of him. In order to achieve the purpose of making use of him, it was naturally the most important thing to first find out what Lin Yi had experienced in the ruins and what he had obtained. This was why the man in the black bamboo hat showed a little interest in Jing Tianqing. Thus, reporting to my lord, we started to act with Lin Yi in Weiwan City. Jing Tianqing bowed slightly and briefly and clearly described the matter, and it was rare that he did not add the slightest subjective opinion. This made the man in the black bamboo hat very satisfied. He felt that Jing Tianqing was not bad and was indeed worthy of training. Adding one's own judgment in the narrative would affect Jing Tianqing's judgment. Being able to say it simply and clearly was already the best way. So that's how it is. So you don't know what Lin Yi and the others got in the ruins, and you can't even be sure whether they got it or not. The man in the black bamboo hat's fingers gently tapped on the tea table, and Jing Tianqing began to feel nervous for no reason. Yes, my lord, please forgive me. But after they came out, they were brought here by the masters of the Spirit Beast clan, and all their things were taken away. If they really got anything, it should be in the hands of the Spirit Beast clan, right? Jing Tianqing guessed carefully. In fact, he also felt that Lin Yi's things did not seem to be so easily searched, but in the absence of evidence, he did not dare to say anything. "Junior brother Pao, what do you think of this matter?" The man in the black bamboo hat turned to look at junior brother Pao and asked gently. Maybe Lin Yi and the others really did not get anything in the ruins, but this matter is not certain. "Senior brother, you see what you should do." Junior brother Pao answered very flatly, showing that he didn't want to get involved, but there was a hint of protection for Lin Yi in his words, but Black Bamboo Hat and Jing Tianqing didn't take it to heart. "It's also possible. Jing Tianqing, do you have any way to investigate and figure out what Lin Yi and the others have gained in the ruins?" The man with the bamboo hat had always felt that Lin Yi and the others would not return empty-handed, so he turned to look at Jing Tianqing. His tone was more like an order than a request. Of course, Jing Tianqing didn't have the guts to refuse. Whether he could do it or not, he had to agree to it. Of course. Don't worry, my lord. I will do my best to investigate this matter thoroughly. Jing Tianqing felt bitter in his heart, but he put on an impassioned expression as he patted his chest and promised. Not bad. You've done well. Our organization will not mistreat you. Black Bamboo Hat let out a low chuckle, then turned to Red Bamboo Hat and said, Junior Pao, what do you think of this matter? Can we hand it over to Jing Tianqing? If Senior Pao thinks it can be done, then it must be done. Jing Tianqing seems to be quite clever, so let's use him for now. Junior Pao nodded noncommittally. After a slight pause, he pointed to Jing Tianqing and said, Remember, the task given to you by the organization is to monitor Lin Yi and find out what they have gained in the ruins. No matter what they do, you must inform us immediately. Without permission, you must not act rashly. Do you understand? I understand. I will listen to Master Pao's instructions. If Lin Yi makes the slightest movement, I will inform the two of you immediately. I will not act on my own. Jing Tianqing knew that the status of this Junior Pao with the Red Bamboo Hat was not lower than that of Black Bamboo Hat, so he bowed respectfully and agreed. These were all his immediate superiors. No matter what, he could not offend them. How Jing Tianqing would develop in the future depended on their impression of him. Very good. If you do a good job, you will definitely have a bright future. Junior Pao encouraged him indifferently and returned to his previous appearance, remaining silent again. The man in the Black Bamboo Hat smiled gently and encouraged Jing Tianqing with a few words. He was about to send Jing Tianqing away, but this guy took the initiative to mention the Spirit Beast clan. Two masters, the Spirit Beast clan also seems to covet Lin. I don't know whether they want the things in the ruins or are more interested in Lin himself. Jing Tianqing was more concerned about this. If he could not figure it out, it would have a great impact on his future actions. The man in the Black Bamboo Hat was not in the mood to explain. He waved his hand casually and said, You don't have to worry about the Spirit Beast clan. Just do what you have been told. Yes, my lord, but with the help of an expert from the Spirit Beast clan, perhaps this lowly one's mission will be easier to complete. It just so happens that there is an expert from the Spirit Beast clan outside who wishes to submit to you, my lord. Jing Tianqing did not forget what he promised Lang Qi. It just so happened that he really needed a helper. If he could use the power of the man in the Black Bamboo Hat to take Lang Qi under his command, it would naturally be the best. That kind of small fry, it doesn't make a difference. If you think you can make use of him, then do it. There is no need to meet him. Tell him that as long as he does well, there will be many benefits for him in the future. The man in the Black Bamboo Hat did not have the intention to meet Lang Qi. This level of Spirit Beast was really not qualified to meet him. Only the previous Spirit Beast leader, who was at the Earth opening stage, was barely enough for him to come out and subdue. As for Lang Qi, Jing Tianqing was enough. Jing Tianqing also understood, but he did not care. Anyway, with the words of the man in the Black Bamboo Hat, it was enough for Lang Qi. As long as Lang Qi still wanted to leave a way out for himself in the center, he was not afraid that Jing Tianqing would not help. Subordinate understands. Two masters, rest assured, I know what to do. I will take my leave first. Jing Tianqing secretly changed the title of the lowly person to subordinate. Seeing that the two men in the bamboo hat did not object, he was secretly happy in his heart. After bowing respectfully, he immediately and carefully retreated out of the bamboo house. Outside, Lang Qi was also waiting a little anxiously. Seeing that Jing Tianqing came out, he could not help but let out a sigh of relief. He waved to Jing Tianqing and smiled. Brother Jing, is the matter going smoothly? Chapter 62:15. Brother Lang Qi, I'm really sorry. Although I brought it up, that lord didn't have time to meet you. I'm ashamed. Jing Tianqing's face was full of pride, but he still put on a regretful expression. He was really hypocritical. Lang Qi secretly spat, but he showed a grateful expression and said, It's already very good that Brother Jing can mention Lang Qi in front of that, sir. Whether it succeeds or not, it has little to do with you. Don't worry about it. Even so, I failed to live up to Brother Lang Qi's expectations. Fortunately, I didn't go in vain this time. That sir said that there's no chance to meet you for the time being, but it doesn't mean that he's not willing to accept Brother Lang Chi. As long as you can help me with some small things and complete the task assigned by that sir, there will be a chance to drink and talk with that sir in the future. I can guarantee this with my integrity. Zheng Tunqing patted his chest with force. Is this true? If Brother Zheng has anything you need me to do, please let me know. As long as it's within my ability, I won't refuse. Lang Chi was not stupid. He knew that the real show was coming, so he patted his chest very cooperatively. What he needed was a chance to get close to the man in the black bamboo hat. It was impossible for him to betray the Spirit Beast clan, so his words had already set the scope in advance. Brother Lang Chi, don't worry. It's just a small matter. I won't make it difficult for you. Zheng Tianqing chuckled, then leaned close to Lang Chi's ear and began to say things like this and so on. In fact, there was nothing special. It was nothing more than helping to monitor Lin Yi and finding a little trouble for Lin Yi from time to time. As long as it wasn't a serious injury, Sir Black Bamboo Hat would be happy to see it happen. After Lang Chi heard it, he was immediately relieved. He felt that these things were really not a problem. It was completely within the scope that he could bear. So, these two guys immediately put their arms around each other's shoulders. They were as good as brothers wearing the same pants. There was really no one else. Lin Yi still didn't know that after Zheng Tianqing, who was regarded as heir, went out for a walk, he got close to the man in the black bamboo hat. At the same time, he also roped in the guard of the Spirit Beast clan, Lang Chi. Otherwise, he would have to make a new evaluation of Zheng Tianqing. Zheng Tianqing didn't know if it was because Zheng Tianqing was too unlucky. When facing Lin Yi, no matter how he schemed, he would always shoot himself in the foot. But once he didn't directly target Lin Yi, it seemed that some good luck would happen. It was really strange. Unfortunately, he didn't realize it himself. After Zheng Tianqing returned, he lurked without any unusual movements and began to monitor the actions of Lin Yi and Li Zhaoyi. Unfortunately, they didn't come out after entering the straw hut. Zheng Tianqing's divine sense hadn't started to cultivate at all. It was impossible to count on him to use divine sense to investigate like Lin Yi, so he could only wait by the window all day and stare at the straw huts. Zheng Dong didn't know what Zheng Tianqing was busy with, but he felt that it was really important to keep an eye on Lin Yi. So even without Zheng Tianqing's request, he would often keep an eye on them, hoping that one day he could follow behind Lin Yi and break out of this damn cage. Time seemed to pass much faster here, and a day had passed in the blink of an eye. Zheng Dongjue and Zheng Tianqing's eyes were tired from staring, and Lin Yi and the other two didn't come out even once. Even that Languza stayed in the grass hut. Zheng Tianqing was considering if he should make some trouble to lure Lin Yi and the others out. Otherwise, there would be no possibility of progress in his task. At this moment, Azure Dragon came again. There was no need to report. Lin Yi, Li Zhaoyi and Languza came out first to greet him. After all, on the surface, they still needed to maintain a friendly relationship between the two sides. Elder Azure Dragon, what can I do for you today? Lin Yi smiled slightly and asked casually with cupped fists. His attitude was neither servile nor overbearing. Even if Azure Dragon was a super master of the sea-splitting stage, it was the same for him. Master Lin, of course, I'm here to ask you for alchemy. And Master Li Zhaoyi, the two of you are not only the two strongest alchemists of the younger generation, but also quite powerful among those famous alchemists for a long time. It's already a great honor to have one of you help. Our Spiritual Beast clan is really lucky to have both of you help in alchemy at the same time. Azure Dragon said with a laugh. As for whether he really thought so, only he himself knew. Lin Yi knew that Azure Dragon was not discussing, but making a forceful notification or order. Once he refused, he would immediately fall out with him. For the time being, Lin Yi was not ready to fall out with Azure Dragon completely. Elder, you flatter me. If it's just alchemy, we have already agreed before. Elder Azure Dragon, you can provide the necessary elixirs and so on. I will definitely not refuse alchemy. Lin Yi readily agreed. As for whether he could refine alchemy and what kind of quality it would be, it all depended on how the Spiritual Beast clan treated Lin Yi and the others. Master Lin is indeed a straightforward person. I'm relieved to hear that. There are many alchemy materials here, and there's also a list of elixirs that we need. Master Lin, take a look at the list first. If there are any materials that are not enough, feel free to tell me. I'll definitely find someone to prepare them for you. Azure Dragon took out a storage bag and handed it to Lin Yi as he looked at him playfully. Lin Yi raised his eyebrows slightly and took the storage bag calmly. He used his divine sense to explore it easily and saw many alchemy materials. However, he did not expect that the main material that was the most common was the inner core of the spiritual beast experts. If Lin Yi had not obtained the collection of elixir formulas from the ruins, he could only stare at these materials helplessly. Now, he could totally try to refine them. However, he was not sure if the Shenong Cauldron could refine the inner core of the spiritual beast. Elder Azure Dragon, there's something wrong with the materials you gave me. I've never used the inner core of a spiritual beast to refine elixirs. Lin Yi withdrew his divine sense and said calmly. He had also seen the list of elixirs that Azure Dragon needed. Most of them were healing medicines for spiritual beasts and some elixirs for cultivation. If they were refined with elixirs, it would not be a problem for Lin Yi and Li Zhaoyi. Unfortunately, elixirs refined with elixirs were not very effective for the spiritual beast clan. Only with the addition of the spiritual beast's inner core would they be effective. Chapter 62-16. Elder Azure Dragon thinks so highly of us. Of course, we have to go all out to study it. If we can successfully refine it, it will be a great progress. Lin Yi smiled and did not continue to refuse. He also wanted to try to refine the elixir with the inner elixir of a spirit beast. Since Azure Dragon had sent the materials, he did not need to be polite. Master Lin is really a smart man. I believe it won't take long for you to find the method of refining elixir. At this time tomorrow, I will come again and wait for the good news. Azure Dragon said politely, but in fact he was simply forcing Lin Yi to take out the finished elixir within one day. Elder Azure Dragon, refining elixir is not like cooking. You can take it out casually. Come tomorrow, I can't guarantee any results for you. Lin Yi's expression was indifferent as he rejected the offer in a neither servile nor overbearing manner. He couldn't leave such a huge hole for himself. No matter how much Azure Dragon pressured him, he couldn't let Azure Dragon dictate the speed of alchemy. Then how long are you going to give me an answer? Azure Dragon was not annoyed and looked at Lin Yi calmly. Give me a result within 10 days. Lin Yi thought for a moment and said simply, 3 days at most. After 3 days, I will regard you as deliberately uncooperative. That's settled. I will come again in 3 days and hope to hear good news. Azure Dragon made a decision in an unquestionable tone. Then he smiled meaningfully at Lin Yi and immediately turned away without waiting for him to respond. Lin Yi raised his eyebrows slightly but did not say anything. If the Shenong Cauldron could refine elixir with the inner elixir of a spirit beast as the main material, it would not take 3 days to complete. If not, it would be useless even if Lin Yi was given 3 years. On the other side of the hut, Zheng Tianqing was secretly complacent. He was inexplicably happy to see Lin Yi being defeated, and this time he finally got some information. When he went back to report the situation to the man with the bamboo hat, he would have something to say. After Azure Dragon left, Lin Yi returned to his hut with Li Zhaoyi and Lenguza. He opened the storage bag given by Azure Dragon and took out all the things inside. In addition to hundreds of inner elixirs, there were many auxiliary elixirs. In the territory of the spirit beasts, there were many spiritual herbs and fruits. These things were not very useful to the spirit beasts and no human dared to collect them. After countless years, even the low-grade elixirs were of extremely high quality. Azure Dragon is very thoughtful. He even prepared the elixir furnace for us. Lin Yi smiled and threw the 2 furnaces aside. His Shenong Cauldron and Li Zhaoyi's 9 revolving sky cauldron were both in the space of the jade pendant. The spirit beasts only took Li Zhaoyi's old cauldron. The 2 that Azure Dragon gave him were slightly better than Li Zhaoyi's old cauldron, so it wasn't bad. Unfortunately, with the Shenong Cauldron and the 9 transformation sky elixir furnace in hand, Lin Yi and Li Zhaoyi were not interested in these 2 elixir furnaces. In Azure Dragon's storage bag, the elixir furnace was the least attractive to them. Lin Yi, are you going to refine elixirs for the spirit beasts? Although Azure Dragon thinks that we must have obtained something from the ruins, he can't find it. If you refine the elixir pill of the spirit beast inner elixir, won't it make him more suspicious? Li Zhaoyi picked up Azure Dragon's list of requirements and said with some worry, Lin Yi must have his own secret to be able to hide the harvest of the ruins. Once it was exposed that he had obtained the elixir recipe of the ruins, it would only make Azure Dragon more suspicious of them, which was not a good thing. It doesn't matter. In fact, there is nothing too mysterious about refining elixirs with the inner elixir of spirit beasts. It is similar to refining elixirs with the inner elixir of sea beasts. The most important thing is the combination of the real Qi Pillfire and the spiritual sense Pillfire, so it is not surprising that we can refine it. It can be explained. Lin Yi smiled faintly and waved his hand indifferently. He had already thought of how to explain it to Azure Dragon. This was not a big problem. I see. Since you are confident, I won't say more. You can tell me what to do next. Li Zhaoyi nodded. She trusted Lin Yi very much. If Lin Yi said there was no problem, she was naturally relieved. Study these elixir recipes first and see if you can refine them. Use the elixir furnace provided by the Spirit Beast clan to avoid arousing their suspicion. Take these Spirit Beast inner elixirs and auxiliary elixirs. They should be enough to refine 30 elixirs. Control the speed of refining elixirs. It can't be faster than refining 1 elixir a day. Lin Yi divided a elixir furnace and some materials. At the same time, he copied the elixir recipes of the elixirs on the list and handed them to Li Zhaoyi. Okay. Li Zhaoyi simply agreed. After taking the elixir recipes from Lin Yi, she said hesitantly, actually, refining 1 elixir a day is quite a burden for me. Perhaps I will need you to restore my physical strength and vital energy. Of course, no problem. We don't have to be too anxious. 1 elixir a day is given to Azure Dragon by the 2 of us. It's normal for us to give 1 elixir a few days for higher grade elixirs. I don't think he will do anything to us, so don't worry. Lin Yi guessed that Azure Dragon would not really kill them, so it did not matter if he refined elixirs a little slower. It was fine as long as there were elixirs refined. What's more, alchemists needed time to refine elixirs. Not every alchemist had the Shinong Cauldron's automatic elixir refining system like him. Normally, it was good enough to be able to refine 1 elixir a day. Moreover, one had to rest after refining. Not everyone could refine elixirs continuously. I understand. Then I will go study these elixir recipes now and try to refine elixirs. Li Zhaoyi casually picked up an elixir furnace and the elixirs of the spirit beasts and elixirs. She turned around and walked towards her room. Li Zhaoyi was very happy to be able to study new elixir recipes and new elixir refining techniques. As for the matter of the spirit beasts, Lin Yi could take care of it. She only needed to do as he said. Boss, you are all going to refine elixirs. What about me? Languza looked at Lin Yi pitifully. There was nothing he could do here. He could not fight, there was no delicious food, and there was no one to talk to him. 1 or 2 days was fine, but looking at Lin Yi and the others, it seemed like they were going to stay here for a long time. This made him a little anxious. In fact, how could Lin Yi stay here for a long time? If there was a chance, of course he would leave immediately. Shanghai Laner was still waiting for him to go to the East Continent with her. The problem was that with Azure Dragon here, they had no chance to escape. Not to mention, there was also the mysterious man in the black bamboo hat. Chapter 62:17. When Languza heard that he had such a heavy responsibility, he immediately patted his chest and said, Boss, rest assured, as long as I, Languza, am here, I guarantee that no one will disturb you and sister-in-law's alchemy. Especially those 2 rat-like things, as long as they dare to come, I will kill them directly. After a slight pause, he did not forget to ask for Lin Yi's opinion. Boss, is it okay for me to kill them? This is up to you. If you think it is necessary, then kill them. Lin Yi thought about it, then waved his hand carelessly. Zheng Tianqing and Zheng Dongjue were really annoying, repeatedly finding trouble with them. If it were not for the sake of Dan Hall and Li Zhaoyi, they would have been killed long ago. If they still did not know what was good for them and threatened the safety of Lin Yi and Li Zhaoyi, then there was no need to tolerate it anymore, and they would be killed directly. Languza agreed solemnly and immediately returned to his room. He widened his eyes and stared at the position where the two people from the Zheng family were at. At the same time, he extended his divine sense and paid close attention to the spiritual beast clan's guards around them. After the leader of the guards had been killed by the man with the bamboo hat, the strongest person guarding them now was merely a mountain-opening paragon. Languza did not take this to heart. With his combat power, if he had not reached the earth-opening stage and did not have any special techniques, he would be able to take on anyone and gain the upper hand. After Lin Yi waited for Languza to leave, he did not immediately start to study alchemy, but under the guidance of the ghost, he made slight changes to the formation of the thatched cottage itself. Originally, there was a simple divine sense shielding formation on this thatched cottage, but for the masters of the Spirit Beast clan, it was the same whether there was or not. It was not a problem to spy on the situation in the thatched cottage. After Lin Yi's modification, it was different. Even a super master of the sea-splitting stage like Azure Dragon needed a few breaths to break the shield. A few breaths of time was enough for Lin Yi, who was in the straw hut, to react. His alchemy wasn't like Li Zhaoyi, who could use any decent pill furnace. Without the farmer god cauldron, he wouldn't even be able to refine a yellow-level first-grade pill, so he had to completely isolate himself from the possibility of being spied on. In addition to the improvement of the divine sense shielding array formation, Lin Yi also arranged a simple concealment array formation. Originally, he could have used the grade 8 concealment array formation, but it was stored in the space inside the jade pendant. The Spirit Beast clan had not discovered the existence of the concealment array formation before. If he suddenly used it, wouldn't he be exposing himself? Although the concealment array formation he had set up was simple, it was only at the standard of a level 4 array formation due to the lack of suitable array flags. However, this concealment array formation had been set up by that ghostly thing after fusing with the myriad derivation array formation Dao. It could still buy Lin Yi 2 to 3 breaths of time. Alright, the preparatory work is done. Next, let's start researching the pill formula. I hope the Shenong cauldron won't disappoint me. Lin Yi took out the Shenong cauldron, muttered a few words to himself, and began to input the new pill formula into the automatic alchemy system. Spirit Beast Inner Elixir and Sea Beast Inner Elixir were used as the main materials for alchemy. In essence, they were indeed very similar. Lin Yi estimated that the new pill formula should not have any problems, but he did not dare to be too sure until he had actually tried it. After all, there were still some subtle differences between the two. Fortunately, Han Jingjing's newly upgraded Shenong cauldron was very powerful this time. After the new pill formula was input, it immediately generated the alchemy script smoothly, which made Lin Yi greatly relieved. If the Shenong cauldron could not refine the elixir with the Spirit Beast Inner Elixir as the main material, he could only use the old way to help Li Zhaoyi restore her genuine qi and physical strength. Only by continuously refining elixirs could he report to them. This was very disadvantageous for them. Fortunately, such a situation did not occur. After the alchemy script was generated, Lin Yi immediately began to try alchemy for the first time. Most of the pill formulas obtained this time required the spiritual awareness alchemy fire, especially the pill formulas with the Spirit Beast Inner Elixir as the main material. The spiritual awareness alchemy fire occupied a large proportion, and the genuine qi alchemy fire was downright auxiliary. In fact, this was not surprising. After all, the elixir refined from the Sea Beast Inner Elixir was also dominated by the spiritual awareness alchemy fire. The existence of the genuine qi alchemy fire was not even known in the ancient Jianghu. According to the prompts of the automatic alchemy system, Lin Yi quickly refined the first batch of elixir. He put in 4 sets of materials and finally got 5 elixir. Although they were not of special quality, they were not bad. All 5 elixir were of high quality, and Lin Yi was already satisfied. With this batch of elixir, it was enough for him to report to them for the next 5 days. With the extra time, Lin Yi could think about how to escape. If possible, he also wanted to find out the plan of the center in the South Continent. After successfully refining the first batch of elixir, Lin Yi did not continue to refine elixir. Instead, he entered the new pill formulas one by one into the automatic alchemy system for future use. Azure Dragon did not bring many materials. For an ordinary alchemist, it would be enough to use them for 3 to 5 months, but for Lin Yi, it would only take 2 to 3 days. After all, other alchemists used one set of materials at a time. It would be good if they could refine once in 1 or 2 days. However, Lin Yi used several sets of materials at a time and could refine several times a day. With this kind of consumption speed, it was normal for ordinary alchemists to be 10 or 20 times faster. If he continued to refine elixir, it would be strange if the next time Azure Dragon came and found that the materials had been used up and there were only 1 or 2 elixirs left. For this reason, Lin Yi would not continue to refine elixir for the time being. After sorting out the pill formulas, he would start to think about how to break out of this situation. In addition, he also had to think about whether he should break through the mountain opening stage here. Right now, Lin Yi was at the point where he could break through at any moment. When he went back to the common world, he'd used the star ink charcoal to train his soul, and this breakthrough would be a perfect one. The only problem was that doing so would cause quite a commotion. Breaking through in such a high-profile manner in the enemy's camp would be suicide. 3 days later, Azure Dragon came to the hut on time. It was unknown why he was so concerned about Lin Yi's alchemy. After all, on the list he gave to Lin Yi, most of the elixirs were used around the mountain opening stage. Only a few were useful for the earth opening stage. As for the sea splitting stage elixir, there was not a single one. Perhaps he felt that Lin Yi and Li Zhaoyi's alchemy skills were not enough to refine elixirs that could be used by the sea splitting stage spiritual beasts? Chapter 62:18. For example, if Azure Dragon wanted to use elixirs to bribe Vermilion Bird's clansmen, branches, and so on, there was a 99% chance that he would be rejected. Who could be sure that the other party was not a spy? Even if they really relied on you, you might not dare to use them at ease. Elder Azure Dragon is really punctual. Exactly 3 days, not a bit more, not a bit less. Lin Yi smiled faintly, his tone was slightly sarcastic. Azure Dragon just pretended not to understand, nodded calmly, and said, "Master Lin deserves such treatment from me. 3 days have passed. I wonder if Master Lin will let me down?" "Of course not. Elder Azure Dragon takes such good care of us. How can I let you down?" After 3 days of research and refining, I finally succeeded in refining an elixir. Lin Yi flipped his hand, took out an elixir, and threw it to Azure Dragon. This was a healing elixir for mountain opening stage masters. Those below the mountain opening stage could use it, but those above the mountain opening stage would have a diminishing effect. If Azure Dragon was injured, this elixir would probably be useless. Master Lin is really talented to be able to research the elixir formula and successfully refine the elixir in 3 days. It seems that you really gained a lot in the ruins. Azure Dragon caught the elixir, and his eyes flashed with joy. The way he looked at Lin Yi also became a little unpredictable. "Elder Azure Dragon, you misunderstood. Actually, I have been researching the elixir formula of using sea beasts' inner cores to refine elixirs for a long time, and I have made a lot of progress. Look at these elixirs. I used to refine them using sea beasts' inner cores. Because of this experience, it is much more convenient to change them to spiritual beasts' inner cores." Lin Yi smiled faintly. He had already expected such a situation, so he took out a few nascent soul golden elixirs, grade 7 recover elixirs, and other elixirs from the storage bag that the spiritual beasts returned to him for show, and handed them to Azure Dragon. These were all refined from sea beasts' inner cores in the past. They were useless to him, but he could occasionally give them to others. He did not expect that they could be used to scare people. The Azure Dragon was slightly stunned. He had already guessed that Lin Yi had obtained the inheritance of the relic, but now that he had explained it like this, it seemed to make sense. He casually took the pill from Lin Yi's hand, placed it under his nose and sniffed it. Azure Dragon immediately narrowed his eyes. He did indeed smell a trace of the aura of a sea beast from these pills. Although it was extremely faint, it still couldn't hide from him. Moreover, judging from the quality of the pills, They were indeed not refined in the last few days. Lin didn't lie to him. Master Lin is really amazing. You can deduce a new pill recipe with your own ability and even modify it perfectly. Calling you a genius is belittling you. In the field of alchemy, you are definitely a monstrous existence. Azure Dragon returned the pills refined from the sea beast cores to Lin Yi and praised him sincerely. You flatter me, Elder Azure Dragon. Because I need to deduce the pill recipe, sometimes I have to modify it during the refining process, so more materials will be consumed. If possible, I hope Elder Azure Dragon can send more materials over. Lin Yi smiled faintly and asked for the materials of alchemy. He was not greedy for the spiritual beast cores, but he just said that to reduce the suspicion of Azure Dragon. No problem, Master Lin, just tell me what you need. Here are some preparatory materials. You can use them first. If it's not enough, we'll talk about it later. As expected, Azure Dragon felt that this was normal. He casually took out a storage bag and handed it to Lin. Anyway, the entire South Continent was under the control of the Spiritual Beast clan. Whether it was the cores or the spiritual medicine, they could have as many as they wanted. Lin Yi accepted the storage bag without hesitation. He knew that Azure Dragon would not come over for a few months. The spiritual beasts below would monitor their alchemy. As long as Azure Dragon was not in this valley, it would be much easier for Lin Yi to leave. How is Master Li Zhao's alchemy? Azure Dragon did not forget that there was a genius alchemist here. Regardless of whether they had obtained the inheritance of the relic or not, as long as Lin Yi could refine the pills of the spiritual beast cores, Li Zhao could naturally refine them too. Li Zhao stood behind Lin Yi without saying a word. When Azure Dragon mentioned her, she raised her head and said faintly, I also refined an elixir, but the quality is a little worse. I need more time to study it. As she spoke, Li Zhao took out the elixir that she had prepared and handed it to Azure Dragon. This was the first time she had refined an elixir. It was only of low quality and was not very useful for the spiritual beasts in the mountain opening period. Its value was not high. However, the quality of the elixirs refined later on became better and better. Within 3 days, Li Zhao had refined a total of 4 elixirs. Other than the first one being of low quality, the second one was of medium quality, and the third and fourth were all of high quality. Regardless of speed or quality, they were far superior to alchemists of the same level. One had to know that she had refined the elixirs one by one, which was incomparable to Lin Yi's several sets of materials at once. It was already very rare for her to be able to do this. After Lin Yi found out, he was also deeply impressed. Of course, when he told Azure Dragon, he only needed to take out the first elixir to make up the number. Master Li Zhao is indeed talented. I think it will be easier and easier after you get familiar with it. Don't worry and stay here. I will definitely not treat you badly. Azure Dragon showed a satisfied smile. Of course, he was not interested in low-quality elixirs, but he was already very happy that Li Zhao could successfully refine elixirs. With this kind of alchemy ability, it was only a matter of time before the quality was improved. Elder Azure Dragon, don't worry. We will definitely not let you down. Lin Yi smiled perfunctorily. He only hoped that Azure Dragon would leave quickly. At this moment, Zheng Dongjue suddenly ran out and shouted, Elder Azure Dragon. I have something to report. Lin Yi frowned slightly and glanced at Zheng Dongjue coldly. This old guy had picked this time to run out, so he obviously didn't have any good intentions. Zheng Tianqing's face was bitter, and he hurriedly followed behind. He didn't expect Zheng Dongjue to suddenly look for Azure Dragon. It was also his fault. He had been asking Zheng Dongjue to help him monitor Lin Yi, but he didn't clearly inform the center and the 2 men in the bamboo hat, which led to the current situation. What do you want to say? Azure Dragon glanced at Zheng Dongjue coldly, giving him a chance to speak. Reporting to the elder, I suspect that Lin Yi has deceived the elder. I really can't stand it, so I decided to testify against him. Zheng Dongjue secretly swallowed his saliva and couldn't help but feel a little regretful. He didn't know why he was so hot-headed and rushed out inexplicably. Chapter 62:19. How can he deceive me? If you make a false accusation, I will not forgive you easily. Azure Dragon said indifferently as he glanced at Lin Yi. Elder, rest assured, I will not dare to speak nonsense. Zheng Dongjue wiped the cold sweat off his forehead before continuing. Elder, you might not know this, but Lin Yi's skills are extremely strong, and his speed is lightning fast. When he went to the extreme North Island, he was able to make a few high-level pills in one day. I'm ashamed of my own inferiority, and now he's only making one pill every 3 days. He's obviously lying to you. Lin Yi looked calm and did not care about what Zheng Dongjue said. When he went to the Northern Island, he did show his ability to refine pills quickly. At that time, these idiots from the Zheng family thought that he used pills to restore his physical strength and genuine qi, but now they used it to attack him. It was really ridiculous. At most, he would admit that he used pills to restore his physical strength. Azure Dragon raised his eyebrows slightly and looked at Lin Yi with a faint smile. Master Lin, do you have any different opinions about what he said? If you really have the ability to refine more pills, it will be good for both of us. I promise that I will definitely give you a generous reward. I am sorry to disappoint Elder Azure Dragon. I am not afraid of Elder laughing at me, but when I went to the Northern Island, I went for a few treasures at the auction. Because I was short of money, I had to use pills to quickly restore my physical strength and genuine qi in order to be able to refine pills continuously. However, this method is very harmful to the Foundation and cannot be repeated. I believe Elder Azure Dragon will not force me to do so, right? Lin Yi smiled faintly and looked at Azure Dragon calmly without the slightest guilt. If Azure Dragon dared to say that he wanted Lin Yi to take pills continuously, he would dare to refine pills after refining a furnace of pills. Anyway, if he did not use the Shenong Cauldron, he was really a waste of alchemy, so there was no need to pretend. Of course not. Don't worry, Master Lin. I'm the most understanding and reasonable. I won't do something as stupid as killing the goose that lays golden eggs and neglecting the essentials. However, what this guy said is also reasonable. Master Lin, you have the experience and ability of continuous alchemy. It won't take too long for you to restore your physical strength and true qi. Can you speed up the alchemy? Azure Dragon did not force Lin Yi to take the pill to recover his physical strength, but he also did not have the intention to let him off easily. Elder Azure Dragon, you might not know this, but the pills you need to refine this time are completely different from ordinary pills. I dare to bet that even if I take out the pill formula, without my guidance, the alchemists on the Heavenly Stage Island who are at the same level as me or even higher than me will not be able to refine the pills you need. Therefore, in terms of time, it naturally cannot be compared to ordinary medicinal pills. Lin Yi smiled slightly and explained casually. What he said was not a lie. Without the divine sense alchemy fire, the alchemy couldn't be completed with the spiritual beast's inner elixir. It was the same even if the God of Alchemy chapter came up with it. Azure Dragon thought about it and agreed with Lin. It didn't matter if Lin Yi came up with the recipe himself or not. He was sure that the method of concocting elixirs was more complicated and troublesome than the recipe of elixirs. However, Azure Dragon didn't want to see Lin Yi slowly concocting elixirs like this. Master Lin, just tell me directly. What's the fastest alchemy speed? I'm not afraid to tell you that in a while, the new spiritual beast king of our spiritual beast clan will be crowned. At that time, we will need a lot of pills. If you and Master Li Zhao can't refine enough pills as soon as possible, it will be very troublesome. Azure Dragon did not say any threatening words, but his words naturally carried a hint of warning. The crowning ceremony of the spiritual beast king? It sounds very important. Elder Azure Dragon, please let me think about it. Lin Yi's eyes lit up slightly, but he concealed it well. He still remembered that the new spiritual beast king had helped him in the past. If there was a chance, Lin Yi planned to go and take a look at the crowning ceremony this time. Maybe he could find an opportunity to destroy the central plan. After pondering for a moment, Lin Yi clapped his hands and said, Elder Azure Dragon has already said so much, so I, Lin Yi, will go all out. I promise to speed up the refining of the pills on the list. I promise to refine at least one pill a day. Of course, the share of this elixir belongs to me and Master Li Zhao. We will try our best to refine 3 elixirs in 2 days. I wonder when the coronation ceremony of the king of spiritual beasts will begin? Let me calculate how many pills we can refine. That's for the best. The crowning ceremony is within a month. Masters, please refine more pills as soon as possible. It's better to be prepared than to sharpen your spear at the last minute. Azure Dragon's face showed a satisfied smile, then he turned to Zheng Dongjue and scolded, "Get lost. You almost caused a misunderstanding between me and Master Lin. If there is a next time, there is no need for you to continue living." Lin Yi sneered secretly. Azure Dragon was pretending to appease his emotions. He had no intention of really blaming Zheng Dongjue. Otherwise, how could the dignified Azure Dragon Elder of the Sea-splitting stage talk nonsense with an ant like Zheng Dongjue? But if he disobeyed, he would destroy the other party. Zheng Dongjue looked terrified. He had not thought of this for the time being. He only thought that he had really angered Azure Dragon. He immediately nodded and asked for forgiveness, for fear that Azure Dragon would really vent his anger on him. "Elder, this lowly one is only thinking for Elder's sake. I didn't expect that Master Lin's refining speed has so many secrets. Elder, please give this lowly one a chance so that I can atone for my sins." After Zheng Dongjue asked for forgiveness, he saw that Azure Dragon did not really blame him. He slowly came back to his senses, so he carefully raised his head and said, "What chance do you want?" Azure Dragon looked at Zheng Dongjue indifferently. He also felt that Zheng Dongjue might have some value, so he was willing to waste time listening to his nonsense. Otherwise, he would have slapped this old man to death. Chapter 62:20. Zheng Tianqing's eyes suddenly lit up. He felt that his second grandpa was not so stupid. He finally put forward a feasible solution. As long as Azure Dragon agreed to let the two of them practice alchemy, it was equivalent to recognizing their identities. Although he had the man in the black bamboo hat behind him, in this way, he could have a good relationship with the Spirit Beast clan. Whether it was in terms of safety or action, it would be greatly beneficial. The most important thing was that Lin Yi said those elixir recipes were so amazing. As long as Azure Dragon spoke, the two of them would have a chance to get the new elixir recipes. This was a business that would definitely be profitable. Elder Azure Dragon, I think what my second grandpa said is very reasonable. Although the two of us are not high-level alchemists like Master Lin and Master Li Zhao, we can still refine ordinary yellow-level elixirs. As long as Master Lin can give us the elixir recipes and guide us on alchemy techniques, I believe we can help Elder. Zheng Tianqing stepped forward and bowed to Azure Dragon with a smile on his face. He was trying hard to fight for this opportunity. "What you said is reasonable. Master Lin can refine some high-level elixirs, and the two of you can help refine some low-level elixirs. Master Lin, what do you think?" Azure Dragon turned to look at Lin Yi. There was not much other emotion on his face, so no one could guess what he was thinking. Lin Yi smiled faintly and glanced at the two people of the Zheng family who were full of hope. There was a trace of disdain at the corner of his mouth. "Elder Azure Dragon, I have some grudges with these two people. If you want me to teach my alchemy skills to my enemies, you might as well kill me now. My alchemy skills are the secret of the sect. Not to mention my enemies, I will never easily teach them to a few alchemists who have nothing to do with me." Lin Yi waved his hand firmly. He believed that if Azure Dragon really wanted elixirs, he would know how to choose. Sure enough, after hearing what Lin Yi said, Azure Dragon did not insist. He waved his hand casually and said, "In that case, let's forget about this matter. Both of you be obedient and don't interfere with the two masters' alchemy. Otherwise, I will definitely cut you into pieces. Do you understand?" Yes, I understand." The two from the Zheng family hurriedly bowed and cupped their fists. Although they had lost the chance to obtain Lin Yi's pill formulas and alchemy techniques, they didn't mind it too much. There would always be a chance in the future. At this stage, being able to keep their lives was already a victory. After Azure Dragon said a few more superficial words, he turned around and left. Lin Yi and the others also returned to their respective rooms and continued with their own matters. After 2 days of peace in the straw hut, the Azure Dragon sent a peak late-stage mountain-opening realm spirit beast to retrieve the pills. Lin Yi handed over the 2 pills that he had prepared beforehand, But he did not expect this fellow to express his dissatisfaction on the spot. Why are there only 2? The elder said that you will hand over 3 pills in 2 days. Did you slack off? The spirit beast expert's face darkened, and his tone was extremely unfriendly. 3 pills in 2 days is a speed that can only be achieved after entering the stable period. Right now, we are still in the exploration stage, so the speed will be slightly slower. Elder Azure Dragon should understand this point. Lin Yi said faintly. He could take out 3 elixirs, and it wasn't a big deal. However, if he did that, Azure Dragon might take a mile after giving him an inch. So, he could only take out 2 elixirs this time, and he would increase it gradually in the future. Elder Azure Dragon will understand, but I, Xiong Bao, don't understand. The elder said 3 pills, but you only gave me 2. How am I going to explain this to the elder? Today, you must take out 3 pills. This spirit beast expert called Xiong Bao was extremely overbearing. Where did his confidence come from? What are you saying? Even your elder has to speak to my boss politely. Who do you think you are? You actually dare to be so arrogant here. Do you believe that I won't slap you to death? Languza didn't wait for Lin Yi to speak. He immediately rolled up his sleeves and jumped out. He had been holding it in for the past few days. It wasn't easy for Big Thick to come, so he had to seize the opportunity to pick a fight. It would be best if he could fight. Who do you think you are? Get lost. Xiong Bao's temper was obviously not good. He was slightly angered by Languza's provocation. Languza was secretly delighted. This was the effect he wanted. I am your uncle. Your uncle is talking to you, and you dare to tell me to get lost? Get lost. At the same time that Languza had made Xiong Bao dizzy, he had almost made himself dizzy as well. He thought about it for a moment and felt that he had not said anything wrong. Only then did he reveal a smile. He felt that his glib tongue had improved a little. Xiong Bao didn't understand what Languza was saying. Anyway, it couldn't be anything good. So, he roared and raised his palm to teach Languza a lesson. Green Dragon only sent a subordinate in front of him to take the pills. He didn't mention the combat ability of Lin Yi and the others, nor did he mention how important they were. So, Xiong Bao thought that these humans were captured to be used as alchemy machines. Naturally, he wouldn't have a good attitude. In addition to that, there was Languza, a guy who wished for the whole world to be in chaos, so a conflict seemed to have become reasonable. Seeing that Xiong Bao was about to make a move, Languza was instantly overjoyed. He was still considering if he should let this idiot hit him first, and then kill him in a self-defense posture. If he made a move first, it might cause trouble for his boss. So, he could only endure it for now. Unfortunately, Languza's plan failed. It wasn't that Xiong Bao changed his mind, but someone stopped him. Lord Xiong Bao, they are alchemy masters invited by Elder Green Dragon for the coronation ceremony. If you make a move, the consequences will be unpredictable. A figure appeared in front of Xiong Bao the moment he raised his hand. He lowered his voice and tried to persuade him. With Xiong Bao's temper, if he really made a move, he definitely wouldn't be able to stop him. Luckily, he only raised his hand, so when he heard this, the anger in his heart instantly extinguished. Elder Green Dragon, the coronation ceremony of the spiritual beast king, these were the highest people and matters of the spiritual beast race. He was merely a low-level spiritual beast at the peak of the mountain opening stage. If he really messed things up, no one could save him. The person who rushed out to stop Xiong Bao was the Great Fire Lion. Today, it was his turn to watch over Lin Yi and the others. Although his strength was low, when Lin Yi was in trouble, he still stepped forward bravely and stopped Xiong Bao. Languza felt that it was a pity. He knew that the Great Fire Lion and Lin Yi had a good relationship, so he naturally couldn't blame him for being a busybody. Now, he could only hope that Xiong Bao would vent his anger on the Great Fire Lion. Then he could conveniently help him. Chapter 62:21. Although he seemed to be a rude and impetuous person, his mind was also meticulous. Now that he had made a move without a good reason, no matter what the result was, he might not be able to get a good result. When he went back, he would add fuel to the fire in front of Elder Azure Dragon, and with an order, it would be completely different. It was good to work for the Elder. As the saying goes, even if there was no credit, there was hard work. Even if there was no hard work, at least he could be familiar with them. In the future, if Elder Azure Dragon wanted to promote people, it would be a success if he could think of Xiangbao. At that time, he would be ordered to teach people a lesson, killing 2 birds with 1 stone. Why not? Lin Yi and others naturally did not know Xiangbao's little plan. After he left, he pretended to thank the big fire lion for his help. Benefactor, it is too dangerous here. I think we should find a chance to leave here as soon as possible. In the past few days, I have collected some information and designed an escape route. There is a good chance that we can escape. The big fire lion pretended to talk nonsense with Lin Yi loudly, then immediately lowered his voice and quickly persuaded Lin Yi to escape. Big fire lion, I appreciate your kindness, but I can't agree to this. Not to mention that I am not in danger now. Even if I am, I can't let you gamble with the lives of the whole clan. Well, don't mention this again. Let's go back and continue refining elixirs, so as not to arouse suspicion. Lin Yi also quickly transmitted a few words, then slightly cupped his fists, and returned to the straw hut with Languza and Li Zhaoyi. The big fire lion was helpless. He was not the only guard at the side of the straw hut. He really could not say too much to Lin Yi. If he revealed his relationship with Lin Yi, it would only make the escape plan more difficult. On the other side of the straw hut, Zheng Tianqing's face was full of regret. It was not easy to see the masters of the Spirit Beast clan making a move, but he did not expect that in the end, it would be so anticlimactic. The man in the black bamboo hat and Master Pao both told him not to act rashly to deal with Lin Yi, so naturally he would not do anything. But if the Spirit Beast clan made a move, it would have nothing to do with him. Unfortunately, he was stopped by the big fire lion. Tianqing, that Spirit Beast has a good relationship with Lin Yi. Should we leak this matter? Should we let this kid have no help? Zheng Dongjue stood by the window and whispered to Zheng Tianqing. Grandpa, please don't do that. If we keep the Spirit Beast guard alive, they might try to run away at any time. We'll be able to get more credit if we act then, and we'll be able to trick Lin Yi. If we tell the others now, they won't be able to hurt him at all. Zheng Tianqing waved his hand and smiled sinisterly. He couldn't do anything to Lin Yi, but if Lin Yi wanted to die, then it wouldn't matter to him anymore. As long as the fire lion was here, Lin Yi would need to borrow its strength if he wanted to escape. Zheng Tianqing only needed to watch from the side and give him a push. Lin Tianqing would only need to know. Heavenly Crystal, you're really thoughtful. Let's just stay here and watch Lin Yi jump into the pit himself. Don't you think we should think of ways to give Lin Yi and the others more pressure? That way, these guys will want to escape even more, right? Zheng Dongjue was still regretting that Xiangbao didn't make a move. If that was the case, Lin Yi and the rest would have taken the risk to escape. Let's wait and see. It's best if we don't get involved. Zheng Tianqing was very cautious. He did not want to be involved. Whether it was the black bamboo hat or the Azure Dragon Elder, if they found out that he was playing tricks, they would not let him off easily. The two of them continued to whisper to each other, discussing how to kill Lin Yi as much as possible while protecting themselves. However, the difficulty of this task was too high. No matter what they said, it was all nonsense. After a while, Lang Qi came to find Zheng Tianqing. The two of them went to the bamboo building to see the black bamboo hat man again under the pretext of taking a walk. Previously, when Xiangbao came, Lang Qi was not there, but he still heard about the small conflict. Thus, on the way there, he asked Zheng Tianqing about it. Zheng Tianqing did not go into detail. He only mentioned it briefly before dropping the subject. Along the way, another spiritual beast joined in. It was the helper that the guard leader had pulled over previously, the expert at the consummate level of the mountain opening realm who had become the new guard leader. Brother Zheng, you know Lord Hu Ling, so I won't introduce him. This time, Lord Hu Ling wants to pay a visit to that lord. I'll need Brother Zheng's help to introduce him. Lang Qi smiled and patted Zheng Tianqing's shoulder. At the same time, he gave him a look without anyone noticing. So Lord Hu Ling wants to pay a visit to that lord? What's there to help? It's my honor. Zheng Tianqing understood that Hu Ling was the same as Lang Qi. He wanted to find another way out. Naturally, he would not refuse such a good thing. The more spirit beasts that the black bamboo hat man gathered, the more help it would be to him. In the future, he would be more confident in dealing with Lin. The only thing that puzzled Zheng Tianqing was that Hu Ling had seen his friend, the guard leader at the early stage of the earth-opening realm, killed by the black bamboo hat man with a slap. Did this guy have masochistic tendencies? Was he still in a hurry to rely on the black bamboo hat man? Was he not afraid of being killed with a slap? Ah, what's with calling him Lord? We are all friends. In the future, we will take care of each other and help each other. Slowly we will become brothers. Don't you think so, Brother Zheng? Hu Ling laughed and patted Zheng Tianqing's shoulder. His appearance was extremely intimate. If someone did not know what was going on, they would really think that he and Zheng Tianqing were sworn brothers. Brother who is forthright. Then I will not be polite. In the future, we will all be brothers. Brother Lang Qi is also the same. Zheng Tianqing smiled and nodded. Since the other party took the initiative to express his goodwill, he did not need to be polite. Normally, an expert at the peak of the mountain-opening realm would not be interested in talking nonsense with a small figure like Zheng Tianqing, who was at the original infant stage. He also knew that he was borrowing the power of the black bamboo hat man, but it did not matter. As long as he could borrow power, he did not care whose power he borrowed. The three of them quickly arrived outside the bamboo building. This was usually a forbidden area for the spirit beasts, so they were not afraid of being seen by others. Moreover, there was a divine sense shielding restriction. Unless an expert like the Azure Dragon Elder broke in by force, no one would be able to investigate the situation quietly. Two brothers, please wait here for a moment. I will go in to inform the Lord and see if he is free. Zheng Tianqing pretended to be reserved and bowed slightly. He said to Hu Ling and Lang Qi with a smile. This was also an excellent opportunity to show his identity. Of course, he could not miss it. Chapter 62:22. Then I will go in first. Zheng Tianqing nodded and turned toward the bamboo building. In fact, he was not confident in his heart. If he was blocked by the invisible qi like last time, he would lose all his face. In the future, he would not be able to maintain the image of a trusted follower of the black bamboo hat in front of Hu Ling and Lang Qi. Fortunately, this time the two masters in the bamboo building gave him face and did not do anything to him. It seemed that they really regarded him as a younger brother, which made him feel much more at ease. Coming to the door of the bamboo building, Zheng Tianqing bowed respectfully and said, Master, subordinate Zheng Tianqing requests to see you. Come in. The indifferent voice of the man in the black bamboo hat sounded inside. At the same time, the bamboo door opened without any wind, but Zheng Tianqing, who was standing at the door, could not see the situation inside. It was not until he stepped through the bamboo door that his eyes suddenly became clear. The man in the black bamboo hat and the man in the red bamboo hat were still in the bamboo building. Even their positions had not changed. Zheng Tianqing wondered if they had been sitting like that for the past few days. Subordinate Zheng Tianqing greets the two masters. Zheng Tianqing's mind turned, and his body had automatically bowed to them. Zheng Tianqing, is there any news today? The man in the black bamboo hat waved his hand casually and asked indifferently. Reporting to Master, today Elder Azure Dragon sent a spiritual beast master named Xiong Bao to take the pills refined by Lin. Because of the quantity, there was a small verbal conflict, but they did not fight. Other than that, there was no movement from them. Zheng Tianqing replied respectfully, thinking about whether to tell the man in the black bamboo hat about the Great Fire Lion. The information that the Great Fire Lion and Lin Yi had a good relationship could not be known by Azure Dragon, otherwise it would lose its value. As for the man in the black bamboo hat, it did not seem to be a big deal to tell them. At most, they would know what to do. Is there anything else? The man in the black bamboo hat did not seem to be very interested in such a small matter, and did not even think of asking for details. Milord, there is also a new guard leader, Hu Ling, outside. He was probably told by Lang Qiu that he wants to join Milord's service, so he came to this subordinate and asked me to introduce him. I wonder if Milord is interested in meeting him? Zheng Tianqing had no intention of taking credit for this matter. He was very objective in describing the facts. Lang Qi was originally recommended by Zheng Tianqing, so if Lang Qi had any credit, it would naturally be given to him. Hu Ling's sudden request to join was still unknown whether it was a blessing or a curse. Zheng Tianqing understood in his heart that the right thing to do was to first remove his own responsibility. The new head of the guards? Then let him come in for a chat. If he is sincere, he might be of some use. The man in the bamboo hat nodded slightly. His treatment of Hu Ling was still better than Lang Qi's. At the very least, he was willing to give him a chance to meet. Zheng Tianqing did not ask the silly question of whether or not to let Lang Qi come in with him. The man with the bamboo had only said to let Hu Ling in, which meant that Lang Qi was not qualified enough. If he said anything more, he would be embarrassing himself. Yes, I will ask Hu Ling to come in. Zheng Tianqing answered, turned around, and called Hu Ling in. When Hu Ling heard the call, he walked in with a smile on his face. He respectfully cupped his fists and greeted, "Greetings, sirs. I am Hu Ling. I am willing to contribute some meager strength to the two sirs. Please take me in." These words could be said to be humble. Logically speaking, with Hu Ling's status in the Spirit Beast clan, there was no need for him to be like this. Zheng Tianqing on the side always felt that he seemed to have some plans. "You are exaggerating. We are originally allies with the Spirit Beast clan. Now we are also in your territory. How can you say taking me in? If Chief Hu is willing to help us, that would be for the best. Us two martial brothers welcome you very much. Then, we'll have to trouble Chief Hu in the future." The man with the bamboo hat was uncharacteristically gentle and polite to Hu Ling. There was even a hint of a smile in his words, which made Zheng Tianqing very surprised. It was obviously Hu Ling who came to serve the man with the bamboo hat. Why was he suddenly so polite? It was completely different from his previous style. Although he felt strange in his heart, Zheng Tianqing was not stupid enough to ask. He still stood aside and pretended not to hear anything. Hu Ling chuckled a few times and flattered the man with the bamboo hat politely. Junior brother Pao, who was sitting next to them, suddenly said, "Zheng Tianqing, about the small conflict you mentioned just now, tell me in detail. Why did it end up unsettled in the end?" "Junior brother Pao, why are you suddenly interested in this matter? It was just a verbal conflict. Is there a problem?" The man with the bamboo hat asked curiously. Was it necessary to ask about such a small matter? "Senior brother, aren't you curious? Why did the people of the Spirit Beast clan have a verbal conflict with Lin Yi? If the people who came knew the importance of Lin Yi, there would never be any conflict. Since it happened, with the temper of the Spirit Beast clan, how could it be easily ended? Isn't senior brother curious about the reason behind this at all?" Junior brother Pao chuckled lightly and calmly explained his analysis. The man with the bamboo hat originally did not care about this matter, so naturally, he would not bother to think about the reason. After junior brother Pao said this, he felt that it was indeed a little strange. "Zheng Tianqing, tell me in detail what happened." Since there was doubt, the man with the bamboo hat gestured for Zheng Tianqing to narrate. It just so happened that Hu Ling was the head guard, so he gave him a few words of advice. "Yes, sir. In fact, the matter is very simple. The Spirit Beast expert, Xiong Bao, expressed his dissatisfaction because of the number of elixirs. Languza, who was next to Lin Yi, could not help but quarrel with him. Then, both sides became a little angry. Xiong Bao originally wanted to fight, but a Fire Lion guard stopped him. After a few words of persuasion, the anger of both sides was appeased, and the matter was over." Fire Lion Guard? What is the origin of this spirit beast? It can actually stop the two sides who are about to fight? Junior brother Pao looked at Hu Ling with interest. As the head guard, he should have some understanding of the people under him. "I know, this is a fire lion from the secular world. It was originally arranged to guard the ruins in Audwa Cultivation City, but recently there was a lack of manpower, so it was transferred here to help. This guy's strength is low, and he just broke through to the profound ascension stage not long ago. Logically speaking, he should not have the ability to stop Xiong Bao. It seems that his brain is not bad." Hu Ling did not think much and casually commented on the fire lion. Junior brother Pao seemed to nod slightly, and his red bamboo hat swayed slightly. Chapter 62-23. Hu Ling was worried that he would not have a chance to show off. When he heard this, his mind immediately became active. After rolling his eyes twice, he revealed a confident smile. Sirs, it's not a difficult task for us, the spirit beasts, to kill Lin Yi and the others. If you're willing, I can arrange this in secret. The next time someone comes for the elixir, we'll make it so that they have an unavoidable conflict. Hu Ling thought he was showing his loyalty, but Jing Tianqing on the side had already sneered in his heart. He knew that this guy was looking for trouble. Fortunately, he did not take the responsibility of recruiting him just now. Otherwise, the two men in bamboo hats might vent their anger on him. The man in the black bamboo hat was quite interested. At present, Hu Ling had just joined them. If he could kill Lin Yi, the center could completely push the blame to the Spirit Beast clan. This was not impossible. On the contrary, the success rate was very high. Junior brother Pao, what do you think of Hu Ling's proposal? It sounds feasible. The man in the black bamboo hat did not immediately decide, but turned his head and asked the man in the red bamboo hat. Senior brother, I don't think this is appropriate. If Hu Ling succeeds, it will be fine. If he fails, it will easily involve us. Whether it is the pressure from above or the alliance with the Spirit Beast clan, there will be a great loss. This is not the result we can bear, so for the sake of safety, it is better not to have those little ideas. Junior brother Pao pondered for a moment before answering the question of the man in the black bamboo hat lightly. His words were tactful, but his attitude was very firm. He did not agree with Hu Ling's proposal. Hu Ling always thought that the man in the black bamboo hat was in charge. Moreover, the man in the black bamboo hat was also the senior brother of the man in the red bamboo hat. Since the man in the black bamboo hat was interested in his plan, of course, he would try his best to strive for this credit. Don't worry, sirs, I'll do this flawlessly, and I won't drag you into it. As long as you nod, Lin Yi and the others will die for sure. You just need to sit here and watch. Hu Ling patted his chest, his eyes burning with passion as he looked at the man in the black bamboo hat. If he wanted to gain the trust of the man, he had to do something satisfactory. If he couldn't do anything, how could he become the confidant of the man in the black bamboo hat? Hu Ling was very clear about this. He naturally wanted to complete this task with all his might so that he would have a pivotal position in the heart of the man in the black bamboo hat. Are you done? Junior brother Pao waited for Hu Ling to finish before speaking coldly. Zheng Tianqing, who was at the side, secretly shook his head. He knew that the idiot Hu Ling had completely offended this Master Pao. Perhaps it was the man in the black bamboo hat who was in charge here, but the words of Master Pao, who was wearing the red bamboo hat, were equally important. They could discuss it among themselves, but no one else had the right to interrupt. Hu Ling, a guy who had just joined them, dared to refute Master Pao's words. To put it more seriously, it was a slap in the face. It would be strange if Master Pao was not angry. Zheng Tianqing cleverly maintained his silence. He didn't want to get caught up in this mess. The best thing to do now was to protect himself. Hu Ling was stunned and asked subconsciously, I'm done. What advice do you have for me? Then, Hu Ling saw a foot suddenly appear on his chest and instantly kicked him out. Although he clearly saw this foot, he didn't even have time to react. He flew out like a cannonball. Although the bamboo building was protected by a tactical formation, the momentum of Hu Ling's backward flight was too violent. It was very likely that he would crash into the bamboo building. The man in the black bamboo hat made a clicking sound and reached out his hand. Hu Ling, who was flying backward, suddenly stopped in the air and slowly flew back. Junior brother Pao, your temper is really bad. You have to temper it down in the future. After all, Hu Ling came to join us. You can't let him down. The man in the black bamboo hat seemed to be persuading junior brother Pao, but in fact, his tone didn't mean that he took Hu Ling seriously. When Hu Ling heard this, he was really disappointed. Hu Ling forcefully held back a mouthful of blood and suddenly felt a little regretful. Why did he get involved in this mess? He didn't develop very well in the Spirit Beast clan. With his identity, although he couldn't enter the real upper echelons, he could still live comfortably in the middle and lower echelons. Senior brother is right. I will remember it. However, this Hu Ling has been urging us to deal with Lin Yi. I'm afraid his purpose is not simple. As far as I know, he should be a friend of senior brother's previous subordinate, right? Seeing that his friend was killed by senior brother, he still rushed to join us. I don't believe that he doesn't have a purpose. Junior brother Pao pointed at Hu Ling and said indifferently. In the blink of an eye, he had pinned Hu Ling with the crime of having bad intentions. Hu Ling spat out another mouthful of blood. He couldn't defend himself even if he wanted to. In fact, he did have a trace of selfishness, but the weak were prey to the strong among spirit beasts. He didn't have a close relationship with the previous guard leader, so he wouldn't take the risk for his dead friend. That trace of selfishness had nothing to do with the previous guard leader. What junior brother Pao said makes sense. Then, do you want to kill him directly? Anyway, no one knows that he will come. It's not a big deal to kill him. The black bamboo hat waved his hand and threw Hu Ling, who was floating in front of him, at junior brother Pao's feet. His meaning was very clear. You can do whatever you want with him. I won't interfere. Sirs, please spare my life. I sincerely want to join you. Previously, I was planning for the two sirs wholeheartedly. Please forgive me if I have overstepped my boundaries. Please give me another chance. I will definitely work for the two sirs wholeheartedly and won't dare to be disloyal. Hu Ling swallowed the blood in his mouth and hurriedly knelt on the ground. He was trembling in fear and begging for his life. The previous guard leader had the strength of the early stage of the earth-opening realm. The black bamboo hat killed him easily. He was only at the great perfection stage of the mountain-opening realm. If the red bamboo hat wasn't willing to let him go, he definitely wouldn't be able to live until today. In order to survive, Hu Ling didn't mind giving up things like dignity. Those useless things could be abandoned as long as they could be exchanged for a chance to live. Seeing that you are still sensible, I will give you another chance. Junior brother Pao snorted and took out a black pill. He threw it in front of Hu Ling and said, "Take this soul-devouring and bone-eroding pill, and I can take you in. If you perform well in the future, I will get rid of the poison in your body." Chapter 62-24. This soul-devouring and bone-eroding pill was one of them. Although Hu Ling had never seen it before, he had heard some rumors and knew how powerful it was. Unfortunately, the current situation was stronger than him. No matter how poisonous the poison was, he had to swallow it with his eyes closed. Otherwise, he would die on the spot. Without any time to hesitate, Hu Ling immediately swallowed the soul-devouring and bone-eroding pill after he figured out the crux of the matter. Then, he smiled miserably and said, "Sirs, how should I perform to obtain the antidote for the soul-devouring and bone-eroding pill?" In truth, the soul-devouring and bone-eroding pill was not difficult to refine. This was a yellow tear poison, and it could only be used on cultivators below the earth-opening stage. Once one reached the sea-splitting stage, it would completely lose its effect. However, there were over 100 ways to refine the soul-devouring and bone-eroding pill. Correspondingly, there were also over 100 antidotes. If one didn't know which antidote was used and randomly took different antidotes, the toxicity would multiply and it would become an incurable poison. Because of this, Hu Ling had no thoughts of resisting. He only wanted to complete the task of the two bamboo hat men and obtain the correct antidote to save his life. It's very simple. Just work for us wholeheartedly. First, remember, nothing can happen to Lin Yi and the others for now. You have to ensure their safety, but you guys have to monitor their every move closely at all times. There can't be any mistakes. Brother Pao raised his right index finger, calmly instructing Hu Ling, "Yes." Hu Ling finally understood why he had to suffer. It turned out that his flattery had gone too far. The other party had wholeheartedly wanted Lin Yi to live, but he had desperately advocated killing Lin. It was already a good thing that he was still alive. Second, there is no need for you to continue being the head of the guards. After returning, announce that the Great Fire Lion stopped the conflict between Xiong Bao and Lin Yi, so the guards on Lin Yi's side are all under his control. You can be at ease as the Great Fire Lion's assistant. For some reason, junior brother Pao had made such a request. Not to mention Hu Ling, even the man in the bamboo hat was somewhat confused. "My lord, the Great Fire Lion is only at the early mysterious ascending stage. He is barely qualified to be a guard. Isn't it a bit inappropriate for him to be the head? It's not that I don't want to give up my position, but others won't accept it." Hu Ling bit the bullet and looked at junior brother Pao. It was not that he didn't want to cooperate, But in this situation, it was easy to provoke the anger of the upper echelons of the spirit beasts. That's why you are his assistant. With your help, who would dare to oppose him? As for the outside world, you're still the leader. There's no need for you to deny your status. Alright, that's it. Junior brother Pao waved his hand, indicating that Hu Ling could withdraw. Hu Ling felt aggrieved, but there was nothing he could do. He could only bow to the two of them and take his leave. This time, he had wanted to take advantage of them, but he had not expected to lose himself. Flame devouring Ling who devour Ling's heart. Devour Lion of Great Ling said. Zheng Junior Great Ling is willing. He, Zheng of the Dragon devouring Ling and said, Ling Ling of the Dragon, he is great, and deving for it to say, Zheng Tianqing was annoyed. How could the dragon devouring Ling be so smart? The only reason he could stop the conflict was because of Azure Dragon's name. At the same time, he was Lin Yi's friend. You want to rope him in? That's impossible, right? However, Zheng Tianqing didn't say what he was thinking. He thought that Master Pao's arrangement was good. With the dragon devouring Ling's power, it would be more convenient for him to arrange for Lin Yi to escape. In other words, Lin Yi would be more likely to fall into the trap. Wasn't this what Zheng Tianqing wanted to see? My lord, please rest assured. I know what to do. Zheng Tianqing bowed respectfully and cupped his fists, showing his obedience to the order. After the man in the bamboo hat waved his hand to dismiss Zheng Tianqing, he turned his head and asked, Junior brother Pao, what are you doing? Can't you just control Hu Ling? Why do you have to do this? Win over the Great Fire Lion? And force him to be the head of the guard? Senior brother, don't you think this is a good move? The Great Fire Lion is just a pawn. It was pushed out to test the spirit beasts as the basis for our cooperation. If we can't even tolerate this, the sincerity of the spirit beasts is worth reconsidering. We need to be careful in our cooperation this time. Junior brother Pao chuckled and revealed his plan. As for whether he really thought so, it was hard to say. The man in the bamboo hat was very disapproving of this. In his opinion, Junior brother Pao's approach was completely immature. Testing and whatnot would most likely become an obstacle to the cooperation between the two sides. This incident might even affect the cooperation between the two sides. It was just that although Junior brother Pao's strength was not as good as his, the speed of his progress was terrifying. He was the center's most potential candidate to be trained. He was currently very popular, so he couldn't say much. Junior brother Pao, what you said is not unreasonable. It's just that I have a dull personality and still don't quite understand. Why don't Junior brother Pao explain it to me in detail? The man in the bamboo hat casually echoed, giving Junior brother Pao a chance to show off. Senior brother is too modest. Since senior brother is too lazy to bother with these small things, then junior brother will simply tell me what I think. I hope senior brother can correct me. Junior brother Pao cupped his fists to the man in the bamboo hat, paused for a moment to sort out his thoughts, and then slowly said, The spirit beasts gave us the territory of the Zhenduan Sea as a base to build in the southern continent, so we should have the final say in this area. But now this is not the case at all. The entire Zhenduan Sea is still in the hands of the spirit beasts, so this time I want to use this method to test it. Deliberately promoting a weak spirit beast like the Great Fire Lion to see the reaction of the spirit beast's higher-ups? The man in the bamboo hat was still very disapproving, thinking that this was completely unnecessary. Chapter 62-25. The man wearing the bamboo hat nodded. The Great Fire Lion was cannon fodder, and so was Hu Ling. After this incident, the spiritual beasts would definitely know that Hu Ling was under the control of the central organization. Otherwise, why would they be willing to give up their position as the leader to assist a weak spiritual beast like the Great Fire Lion? Junior brother Pao's meaning was very clear. He wanted to use these two dispensable cannon fodder spirit beasts to test the attitude of the spirit beast clan. In the real section of the sea, who had the final say? If the spirit beast clan acquiesced to Junior brother Pao's mischievous arrangement, it meant that the center's right to speak in this area had surpassed the spirit beast clan. If there was a strong backlash, it meant that the cooperation between the two sides was only superficial and the entire real section of the sea was only verbally given to the center. In fact, the Spirit Beast clan was not sincere. Junior brother Pao is really thoughtful. Then let's wait and see the reaction of the Spirit Beast clan first before making any plans. The man with the bamboo hat still did not think that Junior brother Pao's approach was right, but he did not oppose him. Anyway, there was no loss in trying. It was also good for future plans to understand the thoughts of the Spirit Beast clan. After the two reached an agreement, the matter was settled. At the same time, the dejected Hu Ling and Zheng Tianqing returned to the straw hut where Lin Yi was. The big fire lion had not been replaced yet, so Hu Ling simply called him to an empty straw hut and talked with the big fire lion with Zheng Tianqing for more than 10 minutes. When he came out, the big fire lion was still a little stunned. He did not understand how he suddenly became the leader of the Spirit Beast guards guarding Lin. With his strength, although he was not the weakest among all the guards, he was almost in the bottom 3. How did he become the leader? In any case, this was good for Lin. After the big fire lion thought about this, he did not refuse. Anyway, he had to find a way to rescue Lin Yi first. Nothing else was important. Hu Ling summoned all the Spirit Beast guards and announced this matter, but he did not dare to directly say that the big fire lion had become the leader of the guards. After all, there were people from various factions of the Spirit Beast clan. This matter could not be too obvious, otherwise it would be hard to explain. After everyone dispersed, the big fire lion found an excuse to see Lin Yi's alchemy and directly went to find Lin. Benefactor, I suddenly became the leader of the guards. If you are willing to leave, the chance of success will increase several times. Take advantage of this opportunity and leave here with me quickly. In addition to telling Lin Yi briefly about his situation, the big fire lion came over to persuade Lin Yi to leave again. Previously, the confidence was too small, so it was normal for Lin Yi to refuse. But this time, the big fire lion felt that the success rate was at least 60%, so he had the courage to try again. Big fire lion, no matter how many times you say this, it will be the same. I will not leave with you, so you don't have to persuade me anymore. Tell me again how you became the head guard. Don't leave out any details. I have a feeling that this matter is not that simple. Lin Yi waved his hand. He definitely would not leave here now, so how to see through the enemy's plot became very important. I am a little confused about this matter myself. According to Zheng Tianqing, it seems that the man in the black hat who cooperated with our Spirit Beast clan saw my potential, so he arranged for me to take over the Spirit Beast guards. I don't know the details, so I can only repeat what he said. The big fire lion suppressed the confusion in his heart and completely copied Zheng Tianqing's words. Is that so? It really is a little strange. Lin Yi rubbed his chin and fell into deep thought. From all the signs, the man in the red hat called Junior Brother Pao seemed to be helping them intentionally or unintentionally. This was really not right. Was Junior Brother Pao Zhang Naipao? Was he secretly helping Lin Yi and the others because of Zhong Pingliang? If that was the case, wouldn't it be better not to catch them in the first place? But speaking of which, it was the Spirit Beast clan that caught them, and it really had nothing to do with Junior Brother Pao. Lin Yi shook his head and put this matter aside for now. He couldn't do anything without confirming Junior Brother Pao's identity. If there was a chance, he would have to meet this Junior Brother Pao in person. Big Fire Lion, the Spirit Beast King's coronation ceremony, will you attend? Lin Yi remembered that this was the reason he was concocting elixirs now and asked casually. Of course, the Spirit Beast King's coronation ceremony is a grand event for the entire Spirit Beast clan. All Spirit Beasts will attend. The entire South Continent is under our control anyway, and there won't be any problems when the guards are removed on that day. Whoever dares to cause trouble at that time will have to face the wrath of the entire Spirit Beast clan. I believe that no one would dare to do such a thing. The big fire lion showed some pride on his face. After staying with the Spirit Beast clan for a few years, he had developed a sense of belonging to the entire Spirit Beast clan. I want to see it too. Do you have any way to bring me there when the time comes? Lin Yi didn't hold back. The big fire lion even dared to release him secretly, so bringing him to the coronation ceremony shouldn't be a problem. As expected, the big fire lion nodded readily. No problem, I'll bring you guys there when the time comes. If there's a chance, it's best if you leave South Continent. Speaking of which, The coronation ceremony is a good opportunity for you guys to leave. All the higher-ups will be gathered then, and without the masters watching, it'll be much easier for you guys to leave. We'll talk about this when the time comes. Big Fire Lion, it's time for you guys to leave. Staying here for too long will arouse suspicion. Lin Yi waved at the Big Fire Lion. He didn't think that a cheap guard leader like the Big Fire Lion could suppress all the guards. When it was time to be cautious, one couldn't be careless. The Big Fire Lion also understood this, so after saying goodbye to Lin Yi in a low voice, he turned around and left the straw hut. He continued to think of ways to arrange Lin Yi's escape route and preparations. In the days that followed, everything became extremely peaceful. Xiongbao didn't come looking for trouble with Lin Yi and Li Zhaoyi again. It should have been warned by Azure Dragon when he went back to report, so the spirit beasts who came to collect the elixirs were very polite to Lin Yi and Li Zhaoyi. Not to mention the number of elixirs, it didn't matter even if one was missing occasionally. The only anomaly was that Hu Ling disappeared. No one knew where he went. Some said he escaped, some said he was secretly executed, and there were other theories. Anyway, he disappeared and no one saw him again. Lin didn't care about this. He was only concerned about the upcoming coronation ceremony of the King of Spirit Beasts. Chapter 62-26. Fortunately, they all knew that the Great Fire Lion must have a strong backer behind him, so they did not do anything too excessive. However, there would definitely be some sarcasm and ridicule, which was also to test the bottom line of the Great Fire Lion. Lin Yi did not have a good way, so he could only secretly give the Great Fire Lion some medicinal pills to help him improve his strength. In the Azure Dragon's alchemy list, there were medicinal pills in this regard. After the Great Fire Lion took it, he was promoted from the early Mysterious Ascension stage to the peak of the early Mysterious Ascension stage, and he could break through to the middle Mysterious Ascension stage at any time. Unfortunately, the effect of that medicinal pill was limited and could no longer produce any effect. As for the spiritual qi in the space of the Jade Pendant, the current purity could only help others condense yuaning. It could not be improved beyond yuaning. Perhaps it would work in the future when the spiritual qi transformed to a higher level, but for now Lin Yi had no other way. Because of this, Lin Yi rarely helped people improve their strength in the recent stage, because that would cause the person to be stuck in the bottleneck and unable to break through. It was better to use medicinal pills to cultivate on their own. Although the speed of improvement was not overnight, at least there was no need to worry about restrictions. After the Great Fire Lion received the help of Lin Yi, his strength improved extremely quickly. Although he was still ranked at the bottom among the many guards, this speed of cultivation, coupled with the possible background behind him, had won some attention for a while. At least if he went to Lin Yi openly, no one would object. Benefactor, the coronation ceremony of the Spirit Beast King is about to begin. Elder Azure Dragon has already left. Do you really not consider taking the opportunity to leave the South Continent? When the Great Fire Lion saw Lin Yi, he once again brought up the topic that had been rejected many times. With the disappearance of Hu Ling, there was almost no power left for him, so he was eager to help Lin Yi escape. Great Fire Lion, why did you mention this again? I said I would go to see the coronation ceremony before leaving. How about it? Are we going to attend the coronation ceremony as well? Lin Yi smiled bitterly and shook his head. This Great Fire Lion was really persistent. Every time he saw him, he would persuade him. He was not afraid of wasting too much saliva. Yes, if we're going to attend the coronation ceremony, we can indeed prepare to depart. The Great Fire Lion also expected that Lin Yi would not escape. After shaking his head, he glanced outside the thatched cottage and said, "The proposal to bring you to the coronation ceremony has been approved, so I don't have to bring you along secretly. We can go together openly. However, Benefactor, there will be a lot of guards around you. I hope you won't mind." "That's good. With so many experts protecting me, I won't be in any danger." Lin Yi smiled faintly. He didn't reject the situation at all. It would be strange if there weren't enough guards watching over him as he headed to the Spirit Beast clan's core area to attend the Spirit Beast King's coronation ceremony. Furthermore, judging from the fact that their cultivation bases were not sealed, there were bound to be earth-opening stage masters among the Spirit Beasts escorting them. As for sea-splitting stage masters, It was unlikely that there would be any. After all, those who were about to reach the level of an elder like Azure Dragon wouldn't be escorting them. Benefactor, once those guards are in place, it will be really difficult for you to leave. Don't you want to consider leaving now? This may be your last and best chance. The Great Fire Lion asked again, unwilling to give up. Once they left this place, he wouldn't be able to help Lin even if he wanted to. Although Lin Yi and the others were quite strong, there was no hope for them to escape from the hands of the spirit beast masters. Great Fire Lion, you're really? All right, you don't have to worry about this matter. I value our lives very much, so I definitely won't fall into that kind of deadly situation. After witnessing the coronation ceremony, I will have a way to leave. When it comes to life-saving trump cards, the Spirit Beast clan is far inferior to the human clan. Lin Yi smiled faintly and comforted the Great Fire Lion. Whether the Great Fire Lion believed him or not, the plan would not change. All right, since Benefactor is so confident, I won't say much. If you need my help, please don't hesitate to tell me. I, the Great Fire Lion, will help you even if I have to sacrifice my life. The lion patted his chest and said solemnly, the departure date is tomorrow, and since all the spirit beasts will be there, we won't have any flying spirit beasts to help us. We'll have to walk through the forest, and it'll take about 2 days. Benefactor, if there's anything you need to prepare, you can do it today. All right, then we'll see you tomorrow. Lin Yi nodded and the Great Fire Lion immediately took his leave. Thinking about the gathering of the entire spirit beasts, Lin Yi felt that it was somewhat unimaginable for him. The number of spirit beasts in the entire South Continent would probably be revealed this time. If he could get a few nuclear warheads from the secular world and throw them at the location of the coronation ceremony, he might be able to destroy more than half of the spirit beast's strength. Of course, this was just a saying. If he really threw a nuclear warhead, those spirit beasts at the sea-splitting stage or even more powerful would naturally have a way to change the trajectory of the warhead, or even directly shoot it back. In the face of a true powerhouse, this kind of hot weapon had lost its meaning, unless a higher-level weapon was developed. The center had made good progress in this aspect, but it was unknown whether there were weapons that could deal with experts at the Earth opening stage or above. While Lin Yi was thinking about some unreliable things, Azure Dragon had already returned to the core area of the spirit beasts. Before the coronation ceremony began, the 4 great elders must first hold a meeting to discuss the distribution of power after the coronation of the Spirit Beast King. Azure Dragon, we've been waiting for you. Hurry up and sit down. In the elders' meeting room, Vermilion Bird sat high above and calmly nodded to Azure Dragon. In the current Spirit Beast clan, Vermilion Bird was equivalent to the uncrowned king, so this elders' meeting was naturally presided over by him. Azure Dragon did not dare to neglect Vermilion Bird. After cupping his fists and apologizing, he sat down on the left side of the seat and at the same time greeted the other 2 elders. Apart from Vermilion Bird, the other 2 elders nodded to Azure Dragon calmly as a greeting. One of them had a rough appearance, and his face was full of sideburns. He was the burly White Tiger elder, and the other had a goatee on his chin. He was the bald, skinny old man, and he was the Black Tortoise elder. Chapter 62:27. The newly appointed Azure Dragon was considered one of the most powerful among the spiritual beasts, but he was still lacking compared to the other 2. In a one-on-one fight, the White Tiger and the Black Tortoise could kill him. Only by joining forces with the Vermilion Bird might they be able to fight the White Tiger and the Black Tortoise to a draw. As a result, the 4 elders were more or less divided. The White Tiger and the Black Tortoise were slightly more powerful than the Vermilion Bird, so the Vermilion Bird promoted the new Azure Dragon. The 2 sides were balanced once again. Overall, the Vermilion Bird had the upper hand, so he could become the leader of the spiritual beasts. Since everyone's here, let's begin. The Vermilion Bird stretched out his finger and gently tapped the table, acting like a host. Elder Vermilion Bird, there's actually no need for this meeting. After the coronation ceremony, the great king will have the ability to manage all the affairs of the spiritual beasts. In the future, we only need to follow orders. Don't you think what I said makes sense? The bald-headed Black Tortoise smiled kindly and wanted to set the tone for the meeting. Elder Black Tortoise, you're wrong. Although the great king has been crowned, he's still young and lacks both power and experience. If he rashly takes control of the spiritual beasts, I'm afraid that he won't be able to do what he wants. What I think is that Elder Vermilion Bird should temporarily take over the position of regent and continue to manage the spiritual beasts until the great king truly matures. The Azure Dragon was an elder who had been promoted by the Vermilion Bird. Naturally, he would take on the role of leading the charge for the Vermilion Bird. The Vermilion Bird sat there calmly. He knew that it would be troublesome for him to continue to control the spiritual beasts after the coronation ceremony. However, he never thought that the Black Tortoise would jump out and object before the meeting could even begin. Azure Dragon Elder, strength and experience need to be accumulated. It is precisely because of this that after the king is crowned, he should come into contact with and handle more affairs. If everything is handled by the Vermilion Bird Elder, when will the king be able to grow? I think Elder Black Tortoise's words make sense. After the coronation ceremony, the great king should start to take over the spiritual beasts and learn to handle the clan's affairs. With a few of us assisting him, there shouldn't be any problems. White Tiger's voice was just like his appearance, full of energy and abnormally loud. Those who didn't know him would think that he was quarreling, but in fact, he was just speaking normally. Elder White Tiger, before this, Elder Vermilion Bird has always been handling the clan's affairs. Not only has he managed everything in an orderly manner, he has also led the spiritual beast clan to achieve a great expansion. Putting aside this achievement, at least it proves that Elder Vermilion Bird's leadership is not wrong. This is a rare opportunity for the spiritual beast clan. It's the right thing to hand over power to the great king. However, as you've said, the great king needs time to grow while the spiritual beast clan does not have that much time to develop. Elder Vermilion Bird will temporarily lead us to develop. Once the great king has grown to a sufficient level, we will return the power to the great king. This is our responsibility towards the entire spiritual beast clan. The Azure Dragon was very impassioned as he spoke righteously. In short, it was an absolute mistake to ask the Vermilion Bird to hand over her power. Elder Azure Dragon, don't distort the truth. The Black Tortoise put away the kind look on his face and smiled icily at the Azure Dragon. I don't deny that Elder Vermilion Bird has done a good job. However, when the great king takes over the reins of power after the coronation ceremony, with the help of the few of us, he might be able to do a better job. After all, Elder Vermilion Bird is also one of the assistants and he won't just stand by and watch. Could it be that Elder Vermilion Bird's talents can only be used when he is in power and will disappear after the great king has taken over the reins of power? All right, everyone be quiet. This is a meeting between the four great elders. It's not for you to argue. The Vermilion Bird knocked his knuckles heavily on the table a few times as he spoke calmly. It was as if he had not been the center of the argument between the other three. Elder Vermilion Bird, do you have something to say? The Black Tortoise turned to look at the Vermilion Bird. He knew who was the most important person here. In fact, with the Vermilion Bird's strength and prestige in the Spirit Beast clan, it was not impossible for him to forcibly become the new Spirit Beast King. However, with the presence of the Black Tortoise and the White Tiger, if he did so, it would inevitably cause a division or even civil war in the Spirit Beast clan. For the ambitious Vermilion Bird, this was obviously unacceptable. Elders, after the coronation ceremony, the great king will naturally participate in the affairs of the clan. However, now that our business is relatively large, it will not be so easy to straighten it out at once. The great king's strength is currently in a period of rapid improvement. It will not be beneficial for him to be distracted by a large number of trivial matters. It is not that I, the Vermilion Bird, yearn for power, but for the great king, it is the right thing to let the great king cultivate and improve his strength first. After all, the strength of the Spirit Beast clan is survival of the fittest. The strength of the Spirit Beast King is too weak. Just his bloodline alone cannot convince the masses. The Vermilion Bird's voice was not loud, but it was very imposing. For a moment, the White Tiger and the Black Tortoise also fell silent. The strength of the Spirit Beast King was indeed a weakness. Although he had made great progress with the help of a secret method, he was only at the mysterious ascension stage. Not to mention the four great elders, Any small leader would be stronger than the spirit beast king. Of course, with the help of the suppression of the bloodline, among the spirit beast clan, the spirit beast king could be invincible among the same level and sweep across the ranks. However, with the bloodline of the 4 great elders, this kind of suppression would be greatly weakened. Only when the strength of the spirit beast king was at the same level could he have an advantage. Since the vermilion bird used this point to speak, neither the black tortoise nor the white tiger could refute it for a while. However, this did not mean that they had to admit that the vermilion bird continued to rule the spirit beast clan. Elder Vermilion Bird's words make sense, but there is not much conflict between the great king's cultivation and his power. Everything the great king can let us deal with it. As for how to arrange it, it is up to the great king, not any of us. There is no need to bother the great king with small matters, and report the important matters to the great king. Wouldn't there be no problem in this way? The black tortoise thought for a while and finally proposed a method that he thought was feasible. In fact, in the end, he could not let the vermilion bird be the only one in power.